Didn't anybody ever tell you how a courtroom works? Okay, in the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups.
Dude, we've seen all the Law and Orders.
Oh, me too.
All right, the state had rested its case and defense. Call your first witness.
Defense calls Joshua Luis Rodriguez.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this witness is by Zoom. Any objection to the witness appearing by Zoom? State?
No, Judge.
Defense?
None, Your Honor.
Mr. Reyes, do you have any objection to this witness appearing by Zoom?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Rodriguez, if you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that the members of the jury can hear and the court reporter can hear. If you'll state your name for the record.
Joshua Lewis Rodriguez.
All right, defense, you may proceed.
Good morning, Mr. Rodriguez.
Good morning.
Go ahead and spell your complete name too, just for the court reporter. Just make sure.
Joshua Joshua Lewis Lewis Rodriguez Rodriguez.
Okay. And so you're not testifying in person today. You reside in Houston.
Correct.
And do you know Felipe Reyes?
I've known him for a couple of years, yes.
How do you know him?
He's a business partner of mine. We're in the music industry together.
Okay. What does he do specifically in that industry?
He's a videographer.
What does that involve?
Music video shoots, mostly.
How long has Felipe been doing that for, if you know?
He's been doing it for a couple of years, but prior to the day I met him in 2023.
And through the course of his business, who does Felipe mainly work with?
He works with a lot of artists in the city, in the surrounding cities in Texas.
Are you familiar with his Instagram page?
Yes.
Judge, I'd like to publish or tender State's Exhibit 19 to the witness, please. All right, Mr. Rodriguez, this exhibit's already been entered. This is the Instagram page for Trap Visions Studio. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
Okay, and is that the business name for Felipe's videography business?
Trap Visions Film, correct.
Okay, and so the abbreviations in his biography, are you familiar with those as well?
Yes.
What can you walk us through what they stand for?
I'm gonna start from the top. As far as the Houston videographer, DME means direct message. The credits 1501 and TSF are rap groups in Houston, including SUC, abbreviation for Scoot Up Click. One of the founder groups here in Houston. Swisher Blast also as well. And Dope House is short for Dope House Records. And the SPM and Longabardi are in that group.
So do those abbreviations have anything to do with narcotics?
No, ma'am. Those are rap groups here in Houston that are the leading founders of the city. They're showing everyone how to get involved with the music industry.
And is it your understanding that he was coming to San Antonio the weekend of October 27th, 2024?
He was going to San Antonio for a videography video shoot.
Stop speaking. When there's objection that is made, you need to stop speaking. Do you understand?
And Mr. Rodriguez,
And what is your objection? With regard to hearsay, that objection will be sustained. You can ask your next question.
so The weekend of October 27th, 2024, was Felipe in Houston?
Yes.
Okay. Did he stay in Houston that weekend or did he go somewhere else? If you know.
I believe he was leaving the city.
Okay, and at the time he left, did you see him take any of his videographer or photography equipment with him?
Yes.
Okay. What did he take with him?
Mainly everything except for his computer.
Okay, what's everything? Sir, what do you mean by everything? What exactly?
He took a camera, lights, I believe different fixtures for the lights, stands, tripods, I believe.
Pass the witness.
All right. State.
Mr. Rodriguez, so it's your testimony that you've known the defendant since 2023, is that correct?
Mr. Rodriguez, it's your testimony that you have known the defendant since 2023. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you stated that he's your business partner. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and if we look at the state's exhibit number 19, can you see that on your screen?
Yes, I zoomed in. I could see it.
Okay, and so where it says booking hit up at Romy Rome H Tex, that's your personal Instagram, isn't that correct?
The name changed to promo instead of HTX at the end, but correct. That was the name at the time.
Okay. And as far as him being your business partner, can you explain the financial relationship that you had with him?
Yes, so we agreed to work together. I would help get bookings for him, but mostly his bookings were consistent with my showcases. I do my own artist showcases in Houston, so he'd help me with the videography, and we'd help each other get exposure.
Okay, and were you guys sharing financial proceeds with each other from those bookings?
Sometimes I would pay him, correct.
Okay. Now you previously testified that, well, I guess when we're talking about screwed up click, what does
Right.
screwed mean?
It, you're asking me what does it
Let's
mean?
stop. There's been an objection. What is your objection?
Objection to relevance.
She opened the door. He's previously testified that it's not associated with the narcotics industry when it is.
All right, that objection will be overruled.
What does screwed up mean?
Screwed up in the terms that their founder was DJ Screw, and he slowed down a lot of music. So when screwed up click is abbreviated is for the slowed down music part.
Okay, and DJ Screw is a famous rapper from Houston, isn't that correct?
I believe so.
Okay, and the reason that he would chop and screw music and slow it down is because he was high on promethazine, isn't that correct?
Just 1 second. Your objection?
Relevance.
All right, what's the objection?
That
what's the response?
he's testifying that it's not associated with narcotics industry when it is, and the jury needs to know the true meaning of these terms.
All right, that objection will be overruled.
And isn't it true that DJ Screw would slow down music because he was high on promethazine cough syrup known as lean?
Objection to speculation.
All right, if you have personal knowledge, you can answer the question.
I don't believe so. I believe because the music was slowed down, everyone wasn't used to that type of music. So I believe that's the reason why they used screwed up click as an abbreviation for their group.
Okay, but my question was, did DJ Screw ingest promethazine cough syrup?
Objection to asked and answered. The witness already said he doesn't believe so.
That's not.
All
what
right,
I'm
the
saying.
objection to asked and answered will be overruled. Any other objections?
No objections.
All right, you may re-ask your question, please.
Isn't it true that DJ Screw was famous for ingesting promethazine, also known as lean in the rap industry?
I believe so.
Okay, now moving on. Swisha Blast. Isn't Swisha associated with Swisha Sweets?
I don't believe so. I believe the name entirely was for a DJ, Michael 5000 watts, who'd also do the same thing, slow down music as well.
Okay, so what is the significance of Swisha?
I'm not sure their intent to use that name. I think it's a very popular name here in Houston.
Okay, and it's associated with Swisha Sweets, which are cigarillos used to smoke marijuana. Isn't that
Counsel
correct?
Testifying objection to speculation, objection to relevance.
All right, with regards to speculation, that'll be overruled. With regards to testifying, that objection will be sustained.
Swisha Sweets is associated with cigarillos. Isn't that correct?
I believe so.
Okay, and cigarillos are used to smoke marijuana. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
Okay, moving on. Dope House. You said that SPM is a member of that rap group,
Yes,
and does
along with
that
others.
sound okay? Does SPM stand for South Park Mexican?
Correct.
Okay, and the group is called Dope House, correct?
Dope House Records.
And it's your testimony that that has nothing to do with narcotics use or distribution?
I believe Felipe used those abbreviations to show the status of videography and the people he works with.
Well, what does dope mean? Dope is associated with illegal narcotics, isn't that correct?
Dope can be used in a lot of ways.
And one way is the use of illegal illicit narcotics, isn't that correct?
I believe so.
Okay. And you're familiar with the defendant, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, and so you've seen him in person before?
correct.
Okay, and isn't it true that he has a tattoo on his right arm that says
Objection,
Trap.
Your Honor, relevance. An
visions?
objection to evidence not, to information not in evidence at this point.
All right, that objection to relevance and the other objection will be overruled.
Isn't it true that the defendant has a tattoo on his right arm that says Trap Vision?
Trap visions, yes.
We pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, defense.
Mr. Rodriguez, those substances that the prosecutor just referenced, do you know Felipe to use any of those?
Objection relevant.
That'll be overruled.
Overruled, I'm sorry. Was
Yes,
it was
you can
overruled?
answer the question.
No, ma'am. He's never been under the influence.
Have you ever observed him to use any of those?
No, ma'am.
And dope, what other meanings could that word have?
Like cool, or in the sense that, oh, that was a dope video shoot. You know, it's kind of the slang they use here in Houston.
And do you know Felipe to associate with any of those record labels?
Yes, I've actually worked around him, working with some of those groups.
Sorry, outside of for his work purposes?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, do you know Felipe to associate with any of those organizations outside of his videographer and photography business?
No, ma'am.
Pass the witness.
No further questions.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
He is by the defense, Your Honor.
Excused, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, defense, call your next witness.
Defense calls Detective Robless. I need this way. I'm ready then, if I can.
All right, you're still under oath. If you'll restate your name for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Detective Matt Davis with
All right, make sure you keep your voice up so that members of the jury can hear. Defense, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, good morning, Detective Robless. So I wanted to ask you, through the course of your investigation as a narcotics covert detective, what is your goal when you have a case with multiple individuals in a possession case like this?
with multiple individuals.
Yes.
Probably to determine possession, who fits the criteria for possession, depending on the direction of the case and what we're trying to accomplish.
So are you trying to look for one person specifically to determine possession?
No, the evidence.
Okay, what type of evidence are you looking for?
So possession would be not necessarily ownership, but in possession of it, control, physical control of it, having it on your person or within your proximity. Things of that nature.
And what about, in addition to possession, what else are you looking for? What are the other elements of possession?
The other elements you're asking specifically, what are the elements of possession?
Yes.
But like I said, so not necessarily ownership, possession would be like you're in control of it. Somebody tells you to hold it, or you have it stored in a pocket or in a backpack or in your vehicle, that you're able to, you're reaching a lunging area, your gravel area where you're able to obtain it when you need.
And aside from ownership, what else is important to find out?
I'm not sure where.
So when you arrest somebody for possession, right, you have to have probable cause that they possessed a controlled substance, right? And mere ownership is not enough.
Correct.
And so what else do you need?
For still tested to build that probable cause. Marijuana being a little different, where if we see marijuana based on our training and experience, I could essentially determine that this is marijuana compared to other substances, which would need a presumptive test before we could consider it being probable.
Do you know if a field test was done in this case?
I'm aware that it was done. I don't believe that it was done on scene.
So it was done after Felipe was already taken into custody.
I wasn't the case agent for that, so I don't know when the determination or what time he was considered arrested at that time.
What about the required mental state?
The required mental state?
Yes.
Could elaborate on that, I'm sure you should do.
So somebody can own something.
Potentially knowing.
Somebody can own something without, or possess, right? Have it in their care, custody, and control without knowing that they have it. Would you agree with me?
I'm gonna object as to it's calling for a legal conclusion and invading in the province of the jury.
That objection is sustained.
So somebody that you arrest for possession, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Do they have to know that they possessed?
So typically I asked that question after they were read their Miranda warning. You want me to go into in this particular case? No?
So that's important.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
A couple of minutes.
Okay. Here you're trying to get somebody to acknowledge possession. Is that correct?
I wouldn't say I'm trying to get him to acknowledge anything. I'm trying to figure out what the circumstances are for his possession, or why he's in possession of it, or what led us to this place that we're here talking to each other.
And in doing that, do you talk to the multiple individuals that are involved with the incident?
Those that come in, that I come in contact with, I try to get a whole picture of it.
So you spoke to the multiple individuals that were involved in this case?
I spoke to two, maybe three different individuals.
Besides my client?
That would be two others probably.
Two others, okay. Do you remember talking to the female in this case?
I do not remember.
And we have your body worn camera. You do mute multiple times, is that correct?
Yes.
And what does your policy say about when muting is allowed?
So our policy, given my position within the department, I'm a covert detective. So I wear plain clothes and I essentially operate in a covert capacity. So our policy states that anytime I come in contact with a source or a potential source, potential confidential informant, I'm allowed to mute my body camera for the protection of that source. And also for tactics to discuss tactics with our fellow detectives, our fellow officers, so that we don't give out kind of the way we operate and the things that we do.
Would you agree that there's some points of your body worn camera that are muted where you're not talking about confidential informant?
They would be for case tactics.
So every other time you muted, your testimony is that it was for case tactics.
Yes.
Even if you were talking to other individuals at the time that you muted your body worn camera?
Other officers, other detectives, or
The suspects.
anytime I was going to talk to a suspect, if I needed it, it was maybe trying to ascertain if they were interested in becoming a source or an informant.
Can you say definitively if that was the case each time you muted when you talked to those suspects?
As far as my recollection, that's what it would be.
Do you recall after you found the backpack approaching one of the individuals, not my client, but another one of the males?
Yes.
And you approached him and told him, guess what I found in the backpack? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And so initially you approached him as a suspect for the backpack contraband.
And trying to get the whole picture to see if, and as a matter of fact, when it comes to interviewing somebody like that or debriefing somebody, it's not in my best interest to show my cards, but in this situation, giving them that opportunity, I wanted them to have a full picture of context of what we were looking at, and that's what I told them that.
And did you get an answer you wanted?
No,
And then you told him, remember that when you're doing time. Do you remember that?
yes.
Okay. And you told him you had already talked to his
Okay.
homeboy.
I'm gonna object as to hearsay and relevance as to his.
Sustained.
So the next person you go to talk to is my client, correct?
Yes.
And do you recall telling one of the officers that you were going to go tell him you found his backpack?
I'm gonna object as to hearsay.
That'll be overruled.
Do you recall telling one of the other officers you were going to go tell Felipe that you found his backpack?
I don't recall my exact words.
Okay, would it help refresh your memory if you were able to review your body worn camera?
Yes.
Did it help refresh your memory?
Is that where you want me to stop?
Well, did it help refresh your memory?
Yes.
Okay. So now, do you recall telling the other officer you were going to go tell Felipe that you had found his backpack?
Yes.
At this point, you don't know if he's spoken to any of the other detectives, do you?
I don't believe at the time I knew whether he had spoken to anybody.
So is it possible that he did speak to other detectives?
It could be.
Is it possible that any of the other detectives already told him what they had found in the bag?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Do you know if any of the other officers had spoken to him and told him what was in that bag
In that moment, or as I know today?
in that moment?
In that moment, no, I don't know.
So Felipe tells you that he understands he doesn't have to talk to you, but then he starts to tell you something else. Do you remember that?
Don't remember the specific words, but I do remember him wanting to talk to me.
Do you remember cutting him off?
Excuse me?
Do you remember cutting him off at times when he's giving you a statement?
I don't. I mean, maybe I think it's possible.
He told you he didn't know any of the individuals that he was with. Is that right?
I don't remember specifically. I think I'd have to refer back to my video. Your color.
Doesn't go bad with your suit though.
Oh, thank you.
The help refresh your memory?
I don't. It didn't specify whether he stated he talked
Right.
about the other.
The-
I'm sorry. I can't.
Yeah, if you'll take off the headphones now. Defense, you can ask your question.
Did he indicate to you that he knew the individuals personally?
No, he indicated that he knew of them, not personally.
Okay. Do you remember him telling you that it was the female who told him he had to throw the bag?
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
So Felipe, when you're talking about what you had found in the bag, right? There's multiple times when he's telling you none of that stuff has anything to do with me. Do you remember that?
Again, I'd have to refer to the.
So there's a point of about 3 minutes when you mute your body, we're in camera. Do you recall that?
I do recall muting my. I don't know exactly when I did.
Why did you do that?
Again, so he was being very forthcoming with what had happened. And so I took his cooperation as maybe an opportunity to see if he would consider being a source.
Did he?
Yeah, he was, he had told me that he was interested in that. And for me personally, as a detective, I don't work with anybody who's not going to be upfront and honest with me. He was being honest, so I felt that there was an opportunity there. So we had talked about that, and that's why I needed my body.
So it's your testimony that he told you he was interested in working with you. So what information did you all talk about at that point?
We talked about the specifics of that night and why he was in possession of the backpack and why he threw it. And that he was doing it for money. And he was helping somebody out that he wouldn't be paid until he got to Austin.
What did you talk about during the muted part of the conversation?
That's for his safety, it's something that I'm not necessarily comfortable talking in person about or in public about. He was basically providing other information on other narcotics issues or situations that he knew of.
Okay, so you mute for about 3 to 4 minutes. And then right before you mute, do you remember him saying he doesn't want to be on paperwork?
Yes, and what that means is.
And be careful because you don't know exactly what he meant by that, right?
But we talked about
So
it.
after he got out of the car, what's the next thing he's doing?
When he got out of the car.
Yeah, what's the next thing you have him do?
We talked about paperwork situation.
What's the next thing you have him do once he gets out of the car?
He volunteers to sign an acknowledgement of contraband.
And that acknowledgement of contraband lists out certain items, correct? And the first item that's listed on there is not written by him. And there's also no reference to other particles that were found in the bag. Is that correct?
I would assume so. I'm not too sure it's specific. I was present when it was being signed, but I don't know verbatim what's on there. You have a copy of that?
Yes, I do. My question about the form, is there information, I'm sorry, is there particles that were found in the bag that were not included in this list of items?
Particles, what you mean by?
Items.
Oh, items. You said articles. I thought you said part. I'm sorry. Items. I would assume so. There's other things that are in the back that are not listed on.
So how important was that voluntary acknowledgement form to you all charging Felipe with what you charged him with in this case?
The importance, I couldn't tell you what the importance to the case agents. I can speak for me. The voluntary acknowledgement of contraband is just another layer of what I would call admission, essentially. He's admitting to the contraband. Is it necessary? No, it's not necessary to proceed with the probable cause or an arrest. It's just another way of him saying, hey, I'm acknowledging this is what I have and I want to cooperate. And so typically we'll pull this form out when we're looking at opening up that line for him to be a source of information.
Do you remember telling him what to put on the form?
Yeah, I told him to put what you had.
Do you remember actually telling him which items to put on the form?
I don't remember exactly. Again, I have to look at the video. But I do remember telling him, hey, this is on your own free will. I'm not forcing you to do any of this. This is up to you. If you want to do it, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. And I asked him if he understood his rights. He did. I said, you know, you can stop talking to me at any time. And he elected to continue.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Any questions?
Briefly, Judge.
It's, oh, they're all right there.
Detective, I'm gonna publish State's Exhibit number 4, which has been entered into evidence.
You have the right to remain silent, anything you can't say and will be used against you before the law. You have the right to have to talk to a lawyer, and have the lawyer present while you're being questioned. You cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before the question if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any of these questions or make any statements. You understand that? Yes. You understand you don't talk to me, right? I understand that. Okay, so tell me what happened. Yes, sir.
Okay, so on State's Exhibit number 4, who is the person in the purple that we see as arm right here?
That's Ravens fan, Detective Ramirez.
Okay, and we heard Detective Ramirez read the defendant his statutory warnings, also known as Miranda rights, correct? And the defendant acknowledged that he understood those rights, correct?
Yes.
And you further reiterated that the defendant did not have to speak with you, correct? And he stated that he understood that, correct?
Sure.
Okay.
So, you know, took us, they asked me to drive a car, right? So just clean car, they said it was gonna be clean, we drove from Houston. And we landed there, I took a nap right there, whatever business they had going on, it was their business, you know what I'm saying? And then, when we're about to leave, they gave me a bag, it was under my seat. And when you say that, sorry to cut you off, man. When you say that, who's they? You know, what do they go by? What's their name? I don't know. I just know one dude. That's it. His name's Nate. I just know Nate. Nate? I just know Nate. Yeah. Which one?
So I'm going to pause State's Exhibit number 4. How long have you been a narcotics detective?
Approximately about 5 years.
Okay, and so what is the significance of a clean car in the narcotics industry?
So typically, if you're going to be transporting narcotics, a clean car would be a car that has insurance, a car that has the registration is not expired. All the technicalities like the lights, the rear registration light, the lights of your license plate, or you don't have a broken windshield or a crack on your windshield, something like that that would not have a police officer who's driving along the highway next to you spot you and pull you over for something insignificant or something where you're not going to draw attention to yourself.
Okay.
With tattoos? Yeah, with tattoos. Okay. He's the one that has tattoos all over his face? Yeah, he was in the head, just drive my car down. And I was in San Antonio. And he's gonna stay over here. And then we're gonna go get some eat over there in Austin. want me to have a clean slate, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay.
Did you owe him some federal or you owe him some money?
No, I needed some extra bread money, you know what I'm
How
saying?
much was he gonna kick you?
I don't know, and we were down to discuss it, we got it to Austin, we're good.
And we just heard the defendant state that he needed some extra bread. Is that also a term known in the streets as money?
Money.
Okay.
Like Austin, was supposed to be a clean car, you know, but, she brought it back, and we were supposed to go leave clean, you know?
Yeah.
Wasn't like nothing. And then, you know, like, she was like, well, you know, you guys lit up the lights. And I had to toss the bag, you know?
Yeah.
You know, we're all scared, you know? And she didn't see this curve. And
Hey, so I don't want those firefighters to get hurt. They have to pull that car out from under that hose. Is there any more dope inside that car?
there shouldn't be no more, it's just that bag.
Is there any guns or anything in there?
There's no guns, no.
Okay,
That I know, to be honest, I don't know.
I appreciate you. being honest.
I'll be honest, if you guys, you know, I'm helping you out, we can tell you the truth. Just please just be my camera bag, you know, I'm a videographer. I was just here just to film some content in Austin. And that's why I drove the clean car, because then I brought my equipment, you know. I was really supposed to just record some content, we're supposed to go out to eat, record some content, vlog, you know.
Are any of these guys rappers or something?
Nah, no.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to cover myself, because I know people. But
So just so that we're on the same page, you were gonna come out here with them and they were gonna keep you some money, they were gonna pay you some money to drive.
yes, it's dirty, so. Yeah, that's the dirty shit. I had the clean car. Like, the gray car was clean when I drove it down here, you know? You know, 'cause it was just being so denied.
Who's this friend that's with you?
I don't know her.
You don't know that
I
guy,
don't know the dude, he's the dude that doesn't have tattoos. I don't know him either.
but you know homeboy with the
Yeah,
tattoos.
I know him, you know.
Okay.
Um,
Do you know how much you had in that bag?
I don't know, to be honest, sir, like I said, none of that stuff has nothing to do with me.
Well, it does.
Yeah, well, I just know it does because I threw it back.
Okay.
But
Did you know what the contents inside was? Did you know that it was
like, I just know there was stuff inside of it.
stuff? You mean like what?
Like, I don't know, like I said, I just know.
You're saying you're being honest, and
I'll
be
be
honest. What did you think was in it?
Probably pills, ice, you know what I'm saying, like.
So ice, methamphetamine?
Yeah, that's
Meth?
right.
Okay. What?
Okay, and so at this point, have you put any words in the defendant's mouth as to what was in the backpack?
Not at all.
Okay, and so you do clarify, what does ice mean in the narcotics trade?
Methamphetamine?
Okay, but that was out of the defendant's mouth, correct? That there was pills and ice in the backpack, correct?
I just said that by top of my head, that's about it, you know.
And so why did you throw the bag?
I'm scared, sir.
No, but why did you throw the bag? Did you see somebody behind you or what?
No, you guys lit up the car, you know.
The police cars?
The police cars,
They
yeah,
try to stop you?
they tried to run, you know.
Mhm.
And that's, you know, like I said, like, I just to throw
Were
the
you on the phone at the time that you were talking, that this was all going down? So who told you to throw the bag? Who told you to throw the bag?
The girl.
The girl told you to throw the bag?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, and so just regarding the phone, you asked the defendant if he was on the phone during the time of the offense, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And he stated he was not?
Correct.
Okay, and in order to get search warrants for phones, you would need to have a nexus to the offense, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so that was not present here, correct? Okay.
Okay. You have any questions? Are you willing to sign a voluntary acknowledgement of contraband? Meaning that was in your possession and that you threw it?
Yes, sir.
You willing to sign that? Okay, we'll get that taken care of. Do you need it? I don't know if you need it, but if you want it, you can get it.
Like I said, I just want this to be. I just don't want this to show up my paperwork, sir, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
I'm telling you the truth, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, what do you know that you can help us out with?
And so what is the significance of paperwork when working with confidential informants?
So any paperwork that's done when it comes to confidential informants is done in a very a controlled environment. The paperwork paperwork that is signed is just acknowledging that he's not a police officer. That is my job to protect his identity. I'm somewhat responsible for the safety of the informant. And so it's just essentially paperwork laying out those responsibilities, and that he's not to portray himself as a law enforcement officer.
Okay, and so the reason that a person wouldn't want to show up in paperwork like that is because their life could be in danger, correct?
Correct.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? If we're gonna talk about that, I'm gonna turn my camera off and then we can talk offline, okay?
Okay, and so you mute your body worn camera at this point, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's after telling the defendant that if you were gonna speak about him providing any other additional information, that you were gonna mute it, correct?
That's correct.
And it's your testimony that you were doing that for his safety, correct? All right.
And this is the address. This is right, let him. This is where we live. This is where he's a right, we're gonna picture him. Down his. Right here, you know, it's, you're gonna write what you do, what's in that, right? I have the right to remain silent, and I'm gonna say now, say that at my trial. Anything that will use as evidence against me in court. I have the right to have if I fire, I am able to criminal records. I have the right to have law appointments of fire and question. This one that the law fights. I've seen the right and they will verify me that any secret proceedings I get fired, civil can. Anything of this thing, you know, I can tell it to me, but I'm still really breaking fire. Get to the set. That the person who will say is in the this is after being informed of my constitutional rights, always knowing without any comments or cars and acknowledge the following pattern of the country and found of the kind of stuff on the purpose of this at San Antonio County and my care custody control, and that I alone am responsible for the Robless that I have to control. So just look at, I don't threaten you or tell you you have to say this or that, right? Okay. And you're doing it to not the bottom, what does it say here? Where? We're doing the one like right here? Yeah. Yes. I have that's right. San Antonio, did you acknowledge that, because you're thinking throughout the back, right? You're acknowledging that the following items of contraband found over there on the premises of, the address, right? In the city of San Antonio, Ferrer County, were in my care, custody, and control, which they were, right? And that I alone am responsible for the below listed items of contraband. So what it means is that you were in possession and control of that. You threw them out, you're claiming that this is what you have. Okay, that's what that means. So.
Okay, and so at this point, we see Detective Ramirez reading the defendant his statutory warnings for a second time. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, and you made it clear to the defendant, you asked him if you were threatening him or telling him to sign that in any way, and he denied that, correct?
Correct.
All right, and then I'm gonna play the state's exhibit.
Yeah, I want you to write what you believe to be in the bag. You write what you believe in there, how much? I can't tell you the exact size. Okay, just write a description of what it was. With the color, what were they wrapped in? They take the armory, I see some bags, with the color of the pills were? I see some. How many pills do you think, like just an estimated guess? You're talking about 3, if I'm being 50, 100? I'm being 100% honest, so like I don't know. I told you to be honest, you know, I don't know what to talk about.
So what else was there in the bag? So there's meth? You agree there was meth in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you agree there was pills in there? Was there any weed in there? Okay, marijuana, weed. Okay. What else is in there? What color was the bag? Put that on there. Blue and red bag? Yes. Okay. What kind of bag was it?
And so at this point, you've asked the defendant, does he agree if there was methamphetamine in there? And he said, yes, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and anything else that you mentioned, it was stuff that he had already told you, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so we see the defendant writing this out in his handwriting, responding to what you're asking him, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, and earlier, we did see you explain the form to him and what possession means under the law, correct?
Yes.
Okay, was it a satchel? Was it a backpack? What was that? Backpack?
And what did you do with the used?
Okay.
Somewhere. What kind of vehicle was that? Sign right there.
Okay, do you know what the street value for methamphetamine is currently?
Objection of relevance.
It goes to
The
the,
relevance.
it goes to the intent to deliver and the defendant's motive for delivering the narcotic.
All right, overrule.
You can answer.
So generally, it's gonna go based on the region or the locality of, to determine the price because of its availability. But locally, here or Houston, you're looking at anywhere from $20 to $40 for a gram. 3.5 grams for an eight ball. Anything over an 8 ball, in my experience, I would consider not personal use. Anything under than that, I would consider personal use.
Okay. And do you know what the street value for fentanyl is currently?
That fluctuates so much that I couldn't give you, again, and that's availability and region.
Okay. Now, in your experience as a narcotics detective, what is the significance of the word trap and trap house in the industry of narcotic distribution?
Objection of relevance.
Relevancy.
Judge, the defendant's Instagram is Trap Visions, and so I think the jury needs to be aware of the meaning of that.
All right, that'll be overruled.
You can answer.
So a trap or a trap house is indicative of a house for storage. Typically, in my experience, people will rent out a place or sublease a place so that it removes their name from any type of documentation that identifies them as having a financial tie to the place. And typically it's stored there, sold there. You got a lot of traffic. And it's usually a rundown house is a trap house.
Okay. And in the narcotics industry, what is the significance of the word dope?
Dope is
Objection of relevance, Your Honor.
Relevancy.
Well, Judge, the prior witness testified that the word dope house on the defendant's Instagram wasn't associated with narcotics use. So
Overrule.
you can answer.
so dope is in a law enforcement perspective, it's narcotics, and it could be any marijuana, cocaine, methamphetamine, anything dealing with narcotics is dope.
Okay. And so earlier there was some mention that you told another officer that you were going to tell the defendant that you all found his backpack. And so why would you do that?
Just to check his veracity, if he's being honest, or he could dispute that if it's not his bag. I wanted to see what his position was, what he was gonna say.
Okay. And did you earlier state that you wanted him to be able to make a decision based on all the facts that you were aware of on that?
Yeah, so typically, when I'm gonna work with somebody, as far as this first, I want them to make it, because it's a very sensitive situation, and I want the person to understand the whole context of it, and for him to make a decision whether he wants to talk to me or not. I know I'm an officer and he's on the other side, but, we're people, and, I want to make sure that he understands what he's doing, and so that was the reason for that.
Okay, we pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, defense.
Yes, Your Honor. So Detective Robless, when you're reading the statement to Felipe, do you notice him looking around and not paying attention to the sheet that you have him filling out?
Are you talking the portion where we're on the hood of the vehicle?
Yes.
I mean, I'd be speculating.
No,
I'm not
it's
really
not.
paying attention to what he's looking at. I was trying to give him instructions.
How are you not paying attention to him if it's your goal to make sure that he understands what he's signing?
What I mean is, like, I'm not looking at where he's looking. I'm trying to explain the form to him.
And you explain the form as signing this form just means that you had the bag with you, correct?
I explained it to him. He's acknowledging that he was in possession, and I asked him to write what he was in possession of.
And do you recall him, in response to you telling him what to write, he's going along with it? Do you recall him saying, mm-hmm?
I don't recall.
Do you recall when you said weed and there was weed, he said, maybe, I don't know, let's put it in there.
He said, let's put it in there. I said, let's put it in there.
He said, I don't know, maybe let's put it in there after you told him weed.
I'm not, I don't recall the.
Okay.
verbatim.
I'm gonna play State Exhibit, whatever, 4,
Yes.
at 1:31:15.
Was there any weed in there? Marijuana, weed?
Does that refresh your memory?
Can you turn it up just a tad?
Sarah, what if I'm turning it
Well, if you give me the mouse, I can.
down?
Was there any weed in there? Marijuana, or what was his, I can't understand his response. You know what his response?
Yes.
I don't.
Well, we'll let the jury hear it when they go back to review.
Okay.
So during these statements, has he received any medical attention after the crash?
I know there was an ambulance that was called out there. I don't think that he, I don't know if he was looked at before I attended to him or not. I'm not too sure.
That had been important to get him medical attention first before speaking to him?
Sure.
So he keeps stating to you that he was driving a clean car. Is that right?
He described a clean car from Houston.
Okay, and could it be possible that that meant that there were no intentions to possess any drugs or anything illegal?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
During that muted conversation, did you tell Felipe how much time he was facing?
No.
You didn't tell him that he would face up to 75 years for the contraband that was found?
Not that
And you didn't tell him that he would be the one getting charged with all the contraband?
I might have said that. I'm not sure.
Did you indicate to him that you could help him if he cooperated?
Yes,
And you said you took that cooperation as an opportunity, correct?
correct.
Are you aware that only $20 was found on Felipe?
No.
So this much drugs, if you can't pin possession on somebody, what do you do?
We would place it in the property.
Do you charge somebody?
If you can't pin it on somebody, no, you wouldn't charge anybody. I don't.
So with this many, with this amount of drugs, it's possible that you didn't have to make an arrest that night.
It would be possible, yes.
Have you ever done that with that many drugs? Not made an arrest?
When somebody is going to cooperate, yes.
Have you ever not made an arrest in a case with this many drugs?
I'm gonna object as to relevance.
What's the relevancy?
It goes to the officer's investigation in this case and whether or not it was completely unbiased and impartial.
All right, that'll be overruled. You can answer the question.
Repeat your question.
In a case with this amount of drugs, have you ever not made an arrest?
Yes.
Pass the witness.
No further questions, and he's excused by the state.
All right, thank you. You may step out, leave the microphone.
Yes, I know. Take your time.
Any other witnesses?
Yes, Judge, may I approach briefly?
Yes. Janesha DeJohnia Walker. Janet Silva is custody.
Twenty 2025 TR 292, State of Kansas versus Burke Bodie. Jared Regier for the state. Is the defendant Burke Bodie here?
I got him here, Judge. Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Bodie. You are charged with speeding 105 miles per hour in a 55-mile-per-hour zone in a 55-mile-per-hour zone in Butler County, Kansas on December 18th of 2024. Looks like you were allegedly in the 300 block of Southwest Ohio Street, which I can take judicial notice is a 2-lane road, county road in Butler County, Kansas, where the posted and maximum speed is 55. You were allegedly going 105 miles per hour in a 2018 Jaguar. Mr. Bodie, I presume you're wanting a trial on this since you appeared today, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And your first name is Burke and your last name is Bodie. Do we have that in the right order?
Yes, ma'am.
Burke Bodie, all right. Now, Mr. Bodie, the scheduled fine on that is $503. And the court costs on that, strike that. The scheduled fine goes up to $503 for 100 miles in a 55-mile-per-hour zone. And then for each mile over 100, it is $15 per each mile over. Mr. Regier, I know there is a statute that addresses a limit of $500, but as I look at those statutes today, they seem to be inconsistent in that we have a statute that says infractions are limited at 500, and yet we have a schedule that has it at 503 plus 15 over. In the past, I have generally limited them to 500, but between now and the trial, we may want to determine if there's any rule as to which of those actually apply, since it clearly does say 503 at 100 over, and then the 15. But at least, Mr. Bodie, you're fine if convicted, either by plea or by trial, would be $500 at least. Now, again, it may be more than that, and the court costs on top of that would be 108. But that only is what the minimum I think you could have on that is. It may be the maximum too. I'll do a little bit of checking to see which of those statutes will apply, since they seem to be, in your particular case, contradictory. Let's see, which clerk am I with today? Am I with Jen?
It's Destiny, Your Honor.
Destiny, oh yes, it's Wednesday, Destiny. So could you tell me when we have available a trial date for this gentleman?
July 16th at 1:30, Your Honor.
July 16th at 1:30. Can you be back here for trial at that time, Mr. Bodie?
Is there any way to try to resolve this today? Because I showed up on the original court date that was on my ticket. The clerk's office, no one had my ticket, so they made a copy of my ticket and then scheduled me out. I'm trying in the process to get a service dog, and since this is an open court case right now, regardless of what it's for, it's holding the proceedings on me getting my service dog. So I would like to try to resolve this today if possible.
Well, like I said, if you want a trial, we have to schedule that for trial. Are you saying you don't want a trial?
I would like to either be, I guess, give you my side of it and have you decide today if possible.
Okay. Well, that is not possible for you to give me your side and for me to decide today. Mr. Regier would have to bring in his witnesses, and so he could present his side of it, being a representative of the state. So I'm going to set this for July 16th at 1:30 for trial. You must be here by Zoom. Make sure that you have any witnesses or evidence you wish to present at that time.
Yes, are minors considered witnesses?
They can be, if they are able to know the difference between right and wrong and understand the duties of taking an oath, etc.
Okay.
All right. So anything further, Mr. Regier?
Your Honor, I'm not sure if the court wants to address the issue of at least a possible defense attorney in this case. Beyond that, I have nothing further.
All right, and I just noticed, Mr. Regier, the fine is $495. I was including the court costs when I said 503, but it still says 15 for each over. Mr. Bodie, we'll talk about sentencing possibilities further if we need to. I don't know how the outcome of your trial will be. I'm not going to be able to appoint him an attorney because it is still an infraction, even though the speed is alleged to be 105 in a 55. But Mr. Bodie, as I looked at that statute again, I was looking at the column, the 503 was the column of fines plus docket fees. The fine does say $495. It does have the language of the 15 for each mile over, but I no longer think that that's inconsistent necessarily with the statute. So I think your maximum is $500 possible fines and 108 court costs.
One last question, Your Honor. Is there any way between now and then that I could possibly meet with the district attorney and try to resolve this before the trial?
That would be up to you and the prosecutor. You just have to call them and see what they have to say about that.
Okay,
Or you could
all right,
go.
thank
to
you.
the
Thank you,
office.
Your Honor.
You're welcome. Or you could go to their office, but I have the traffic attorney tied up for the rest of the morning on this docket.
Okay, thank you, Your
sir.
Honor.
You're welcome. You are excused and may go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Deputy, who else do you have there?
Well, I have several people, but I have an attorney
Okay.
for Caden Campbell. He's
That's-
sitting in the hall. I think he's gonna ask for a continuance.
All right,
I can bring
Who is
him
the
in real quick.
bring him in, and who's your attorney that you have?
Okay. I'll let him pronounce his name.
Good morning, Your Honor. Frank Ojal on behalf of Caden
Oh,
Campbell.
sure. Hello,
How are
Mr.
you?
Ojai. I'm good.
Good.
Let's see. Let me find Mr. Campbell on my docket here. Shouldn't be too hard. We are on the record in 2024 TR 2786, State of Kansas versus Caden Allen Campbell. Please announce appearances.
Jared Regier on behalf of the state.
Frank Ojal on behalf of Caden Campbell.
And Mr. Campbell is charged with a registration or tag violation. How does he wish to plead to that, Mr. Ojai?
Not guilty. I believe he's already got that taken care of, Your Honor. He's stranded in Boise, Idaho right now. I got a call from his dad late last night saying, help. So here I am.
Okay, he did fail to appear at first appearance January 22nd of 25. A bench warrant of $500 cash or surety was ordered. You think he's gotten that and that taken care of?
I believe so, Your Honor. Like I said, I just found out about all this last night at 9:30. So
It
if
looks
we
like
could
he
get,
did. I'm sorry.
so if we can get this passed a little bit, then I can speak with the county attorney and see what we can do about getting this matter resolved.
Okay, it looked like he did post a $500 cash bond January 30th, 2025. So he has taken care of any warrants and made bond apparently. So we will set this, you want it set for trial then on a Wednesday afternoon?
That would be fine, Your Honor.
Destiny, do we have time for that July 16th docket at 1:30?
We do, Your Honor. It's our last one on that day.
All right, Mr. Ojal, does July 16th at 1:30 work?
Actually, Your Honor, I've got a pretrial that afternoon in Sedgwick County.
All right, we'll go with a different date.
The next one we have available is July 23rd.
How about that one at 1:30?
July 23rd works, Your Honor.
All right, that will be the trial, July 23rd at 1:30. Of course, if you and counsel come to some conclusion between now and then, you can always remove that from the docket. Mr. Regier, do you want to be heard on this matter?
Very briefly, Your Honor, the state has no objection to setting this to trial on the July 23rd date. I have no personal knowledge as to any of the allegations presented by counsel for the defense on the record here today. I'm not, based off my notes, although counsel for the defense does appear on behalf of the defendants apparently today, my notes indicate that this is a case where the defendant has yet to actually appear before Your Honor in this matter, so I'm not sure if the court is departing from its usual custom about requiring defendants to actually appear, especially on misdemeanor charges.
Since he has retained Mr. Ojal and Mr. Ojal has appeared for him, and it is the unclassified misdemeanor in this instance, I will, as you say, depart from normal custom and let him off the hook today, but I will want him here for any trial or pleas. Mr. Ojal, he can always appear by Zoom, and you certainly can in future hearings as well.
Okay.
Thank you for coming over, but we can handle this by Zoom, I do believe. If there's nothing further, we'll be in recess at this time. Mr. Ojal, you are excused.
Your Honor, is the court also continuing the bond in this case?
Bond will be continued, yes, with the condition that he reappear in person for plea or sentence, or plea or trial.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. excused at this time. You have any other attorneys or defendants down there, Deputy? You said quite a few.
I have 10 people here, 9
All
or
right,
10
then-
people.
Then let me look at the case that Attorney Mike Kinder is here on. Mr. Kinder, who are you here for? Well, I'm not seeing an entry of appearance, Mr. Kinder. Which case are you here for? All right, I'll skip Mr. Attorney Kinder for right now. Unless, does this young lady have an attorney, Deputy? No?
No.
Okay. All right, who is the gentleman in the Butler County Detention Facility? What is your name, please? If you don't.
Adam Garcia.
Can you say that last name again, please?
Garcia.
Garcia, thank you, sir. We'll be on the record now in 2024 TR 1338, State of Kansas versus Adam Lupe Garcia. Jared Regier appearing for the state, Mr. Garcia appearing in person, in custody, and pro se. Mr. Garcia, excuse me?
Did you say Adam Lupe Garcia?
Is that not your name? That's what I said.
That's not my name.
I thought you said your name was Adam Garcia.
Yeah, but not no Lupe. I've never been called. I don't have a
Yeah.
middle name or anything.
Well,
Judge,
then
I have Adam Lupe Garcia here at the salad board.
So you're telling me I have two Adam Garcias on the docket?
Yep.
There's only one.
There was only one, Your Honor. I think there was a mix-up because it just says Adam Garcia, but it's supposed to be Adam Lupe Garcia.
So does the gentleman that's in the jail not belong on this docket?
I'm gonna say no, Your Honor. I'm not sure, in all honesty, without seeing more of the information.
Okay, Deputy, you have someone, Mr. Garcia, that you have in the jail has a different last or different middle name, correct?
I do.
Okay, then it sounds like he shouldn't be on the docket. He's been apparently mistakenly placed on the docket. So it sounds like he can go back. Do you have him on another docket in the near future, Deputy, detention deputy?
No, it was just a mix up with the middle name, ma'am.
All right, so he can be released from this docket and remanded to the sheriff at this time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Garcia, and thank you to the deputy. All right, Deputy Caulfield, do you have Adam Lupe Garcia with you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank goodness for middle names, right? We are
Right.
on the record again in 2024 TR 1338, State of Kansas versus Adam Lupe Garcia. Jared Regier for the state and the defendant, Mr. Garcia, in person and pro se. You are Adam Lupe Garcia, one more time for the record.
Yes.
And I make that specification because I just had another Mr. Adam Garcia with a different middle name. All right, sir, at this time, I will advise you of your rights and charges. You're charged in count one with speeding 78 miles per hour in a 65-mile-per-hour zone. This is a scheduled fine. There is no jail time if you were to be convicted that would go with it. The scheduled fine for 78 and a 65 is $63, and you would be added court costs of $108 for a total due of $171. In count two, you're charged of operating a motor vehicle in Butler County without proof of insurance. Both of these alleged to have occurred March 6th of the year 2024. And if convicted of this offense, it's a B non-person misdemeanor. The penalties could be a minimum fine of $300, but the fine could go as high as $1,000, and the sentence could be up to 6 months in the county jail. Because there is up to 6 months county jail time available, you do have the right to hire an attorney If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can apply and see if you qualify for court-appointed attorney. Or you could waive your right to an attorney and proceed to represent yourself today. In that case, you could even resolve the matter today. But you are entitled to a trial. If you wish a trial, you should plead not guilty. Otherwise, you can plead guilty, admitting, or no contest, neither admitting nor denying. You'd still be with a no contest plea found guilty. And we would proceed with sentencing. You may be eligible for the state's diversion program. And with that program, if you do certain things such as provide proof of insurance, pay fines, costs, and a diversion fee, they may ultimately dismiss all the charges against you and keep them off your traffic record, your insurance record, and so forth. But you do have to qualify. You have to have a pretty much clean record. Do you want to look into that, Mr. Garcia? Or do you want to hire an attorney? You want to look into the diversion?
Yes.
You think that you would qualify for that, is that correct?
I don't know. I just want to look
Okay.
into it.
Okay. Well, I'll give you one chance to do that. Don't put it off. You need to go online today, and the website the deputy can write down for you is bucks.com. And the word is diversion. You're looking for a diversion. You seem a little distracted, Mr. Garcia. There must be some things going on around you. Are you tracking what I'm saying?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I was watching him, so he's writing it down.
I'm sorry?
I was just watching to see if he's writing it down. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Or giving him a sheet.
Okay.
Oh, okay, thank you. But get that started, and they do require money up front to apply. And if you're accepted, they require money up front to file the contract. So don't wait until your next court date to do that, because then it'll probably be too late.
Okay.
All right.
Now, how do I pay up front? Can I pay here or?
You will pay online when you apply.
Okay.
But realistically, if you have things on your record that I mean, they require a pretty clean record. If nothing recently, no prior diversions generally. But yes, you'll have the chance to apply. But my hesitation is that my next open docket is going to be a ways down the road, and if you delay, then it's going to be even further down the road. So, Destiny, when can he come back on a diversion review?
Would you like the August 20th date, Your Honor?
August 20th it will be, yes, thank you. You see what I mean? May to June, July, August, we're looking 90 days.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to come back here and be no further along than we are today. All right, you'll need to reappear August 20th at 9 a.m., sir. You can either do that again at the courthouse or by Zoom. If you're diverted by then, though, you won't even have to come back to court. The whole idea of diversion is to divert you away from the courtroom setting.
Okay.
Divert you from the records, divert you from getting a record. All right, so I don't believe we need to set or have to set a bond because of the nature of this offense, but Mr. Regier, have you anything to say?
With all due respect, Your Honor, the information in this case does appear to charge count 2 as a Class B non-person misdemeanor. However, it is the state's understanding that this is a defendant who had previously failed to appear, and a bond was executed for today's date and time in the amount of $1,000 professional surety.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Regier. You're right on all accounts. So I will continue the bond you're on, Mr. Garcia. And the condition added to your bond to all existing conditions is that you must reappear August 20th at 9 a.m. unless you're diverted.
Okay, so I'll go home, get online, and then if I'm diverted, that'll take care of this.
What you need to do is get online, fill out your application. Everyone listen to what I'm telling him because it may apply to you. Go online today, apply for diversion, send in your diversion contract and your money by email or online. Wait a couple of weeks to get a contract in the mail or a denial letter. If you are not approved, then you have to come back to court and deal with this. If you want an attorney, if you're denied and you need to apply, come back to the courthouse, call the courthouse and apply now as soon as possible rather than waiting till your next court date. But in a couple of weeks, if you're approved, you'll get a contract and you'll need to send that back to the county attorney through the mail or hand deliver it to their office with the second payment. And they will tell you when they get that and file that, whether or not you need to come back to court. Do you have any questions about that, sir?
Yeah, can I pay my fine, or do I have a fine to pay now, or is it at the wait for
Don't pay a
diversion?
fine. When you apply, you'll have a fee, a diversion fee. If
Okay,
you're approved, then they will tell you what the fine is, how much to pay, and how to pay that.
okay.
But no, don't pay any fines today. Any other questions?
No, I just take care of this today. When I get home, I get online, take care of this, I'll pay the fine to them,
Right.
and go
And
from there.
if you don't get diversion, or if you decide you don't want to apply, then decide if you want to hire an attorney, and if you cannot afford to hire an attorney, but you still want one, contact the courthouse and get your application for an attorney soon. Don't delay. And I'm saying this to everyone that should be paying attention right now. All right. Anything else, sir?
No, that's it. Thank you, Your Honor.
You said he has made bond and that's continued. All right, you may go, sir.
Yeah, that's what you need to.
Let's do that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're good to go.
All right, thank you, sir. Now, Attorney Kinder, are you ready yet? All right, any other attorneys on here besides Mr. Regier and Mr. Kinder? Any other detention facilities? Deputy Caulfield, who would you like to take up next?
Cristiana Starland.
Very well. We are on the record in case number 2024 TR 3355, State of Kansas versus Cristiana Nicole Starland, or Cristiana Starland. Is it Christina?
It's Cristiana.
Cristiana. Okay, I thought I saw an extra letter in there. With Jared Regier for the state and the defendant in person, Miss Starland. At this time, I will advise you that you have one charge, speeding 100 miles per hour and a 75 mile per hour in Butler County, Kansas on December 19th, 2024. This is a traffic infraction with no jail time, but a scheduled fine if you were to be convicted. The scheduled fine for speeding 100 in a 75 mile per hour zone is $150 plus court costs of $108. So the total due if you were to be convicted by plea or trial would be $258. You are here, I am presuming, because you wish a trial. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Do you want to use that date you gave me earlier, Destiny? July? Was it July?
It was July 16th, and that's that last one again, Your Honor.
All right. Are you able to be here July 16th at 1:30 for a trial by Zoom?
Yes.
Very well. That will be your trial date. You are ordered to reappear. I know you don't have a bond because this is an infraction, but I am ordering you to reappear for trial. That will be bench trial July 16th at 1:30. You will need to have any witnesses or evidence you wish the court to consider with you at that time. Again, this is by Zoom.
Okay, when do I submit, how do I submit the evidence?
You'll bring that with you to the trial. Now, if you have documents, you're welcome to submit them. I don't know what pictures, photographs. I would just say bring them with you, but sometimes if you file them with the clerk, it might be possible to have the clerk screen share them with us, or you can be prepared to screen share them yourself. If this is evidence you want the county attorney to consider for possible negotiations, you can always contact them directly. But otherwise, the short answer is have your evidence with you, and you may want to appear at court in that case, in the courthouse.
How many copies would I need of
Well,
like a document?
Usually at trial, you give one to any defense counsel and the original you offer to the court.
Okay.
So if you're thinking about having evidence, I would suggest you come to the courthouse with that. Now, if it's documents prepared by a third party, you'll probably have to have that third party here, or it may not be admitted.
But if I prepared it myself,
yeah, you have to have, if it's like, say, a auto shop prepared you some kind of statement, the person that prepared it would need to be here. If they don't want to come voluntarily, you can go to the clerk's office and subpoena them. But I'm really going above and beyond where I really should. I really should just say, have it with you. And if you're going to represent yourself, you need to know how to do that.
okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. And you are entitled to hire an attorney to represent you. But I can't appoint one on an infraction. Thank you. You may go.
Okay, next one I have coming up is Richard Longabardi.
Okay. We are on the record in 2025 TR 329, State of Kansas versus Richard Joseph Longabardi. Jared Regier for the state, Mr. Longabardi in person. And am I saying it right? Is it Longabardi?
Longabardi.
Longabardi. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, let's look at your charges, Mr. Longabardi. Sir, you're charged in count 1 with operating a motor vehicle without valid registration or an expired tag. This is an unclassified misdemeanor. Penalties could be, there's a maximum fine up to $2,500. There is a possible sentence of 30 days to 6 months. Those are extremes. They're usually much less results than that, but you're also looking at a Class B misdemeanor operating without proof of liability insurance, and that has a minimum fine that must be ordered if you're convicted. That would be $300, but it could be up to $1,000. You also could get up to 6 months sentence, but that's usually a probation unless you've got some terrible record of traffic violations. Because it is a B misdemeanor, you have the right to plead not guilty and set this for trial, or you can plead not guilty, or I'm sorry, you can plead guilty and proceed today. You can plead no contest. That means you don't want to admit it, but you don't want to deny it. You'd still be found guilty, and we could proceed to sentencing. Before you decide how you want to plead, I will advise you that you do have the right to an attorney. You can hire any attorney of your choice, and if you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can apply and see if you qualify for a court-appointed attorney. You also have the right to waive an attorney and represent yourself in these matters. There is that program I've been talking about, if you've heard me this morning about diversion, but I see you do have a traffic record fairly extensively dating back to at least 2004. So my, not only in Butler, but other counties as well. So my experience tells me you probably wouldn't qualify, but that's not my decision to make. But I just don't see you qualifying. How do you want to proceed at this time? Do you want an attorney?
No, ma'am, I don't need an attorney.
All right, do you understand that you can hire one and that I can appoint one if you qualify for court appointed?
I do understand.
And knowing that, you wish to waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Very well, Deputy, do you have a waiver of counsel for him?
And Your Honor,
Yes, Mr. Regier?
forgive my interjection, but the state's information appears to suggest there is another case involving this same defendant. Butler County 25 TR 0366. The state's understanding is that case is currently set for hearing exactly 1 week from today, June 6, 2025. I am not showing a first appearance has been conducted in that matter. I'm not sure if the court wishes to take up both matters at this time in the interest of judicial economy.
Well, let's take a look at that, Mr. Longabardi, while you're here. Did you
I
know
was
you
gonna
had-
bring that up myself.
Okay. Let me take a look at next week's docket as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We will also take up case number 2025 TR 366, State of Kansas versus Richard Joseph Longabardi. Mr. Longabardi, you are in this case charged with count 1, operating a motor vehicle without registration or expired tag. And you're charged again with operating a motor vehicle without proof of liability insurance. These allegedly occurred February 7, 2025. At this time, the penalties are as they were in the first case that I told you. But if you get a conviction for no liability insurance a second time, the fine goes up to a minimum of $800 up to $2,500. It becomes an A misdemeanor. And the maximum sentence possible goes from 6 months to a year, although again, probation usually applies. So, and again, you have the right to hire an attorney or apply for court appointed. Knowing that, are you still wishing to waive your right in both cases and
Yes,
represent
ma'am.
yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then you would need to fill out a waiver in both cases if you're confident that's what you want to do. And I will tell you, this is kind of an aside, it's outside of my obligations and authorities, but if you have 3 serious violations, you can get your driver's license revoked by the state of Kansas Department of Revenue, and they would take your license for 3 years. So if you already have something serious on your record, and I see you do have some things that are significant.
May I ask what they are? Because I don't know of anything other than not having a seatbelt on.
All right, that's your Wilson County. BU 25-366 we're dealing with today. The 329 we're taking care of today. All right. The other ones go back. You have a number of things on there, but they're like a 2019 improper turn approach. They failure to yield the stop sign, that goes back to 2018, speeding 2004. So you may not have that third on there, but it would sure mean you couldn't get another. But I'm not gonna give you any legal advice to hold on to.
I understand. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I just wanted to know.
Okay.
Because I didn't know of anything else. That's all I was asking, because it's been years since I've really had a ticket in my estimation.
Okay, well, ensure understand.
Which, it's good. Thank you so much, ma'am.
What I'm giving you is not your official record. I'm just telling you what I see when I call up cases you've had filed in Kansas.
Gotcha, I
Your-
understand. Thank you very
your
much.
official record would have to be obtained through the Department of Revenue, and they may have different things than I do.
I understand. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So how do you want to proceed? You still want to waive your attorney, or do you want to maybe take?
Uh,
time
Yeah,
and talk?
really, honestly, to me, I have no choice. I mean, I'm ready to proceed. I mean, I understand what happened and everything. There are extenuating circumstances. I don't know if anybody's going to listen to it or hear it, but
Right.
I'm ready to
They
go
might.
forward.
They might. That's why you sometimes want an attorney, because the attorneys have lots of experience knowing what's considerable and what isn't. And so
I
I'd be
understand.
happy to give you time if you wanted to talk to an attorney.
I'm fine. I have the
All right.
biggest attorney in the world, so I'm good with it.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that you're well informed of your rights. So,
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am.
all right, you would need to, deputy, he'll need to sign one in each case if he hasn't. Do you have those case numbers?
He has.
All right. Now, let's look at 366, since I have that one pulled up on the screen. Okay. Now, sometimes attorneys, well, almost always, if you hire an attorney, they talk to the county attorney about negotiations and seeing if they can trade cases. And if you waive your right, I always give you, or try to always give you, the opportunity to discuss negotiations with the prosecutor, and it's up to the prosecutor if he wants to do that or not.
I would appreciate doing something like that because I really did come here to talk to the prosecutor once in the past. And the lady that was in his office that spoke with me said that because the guy that I was borrowing the vehicle from did not register the vehicle, even up to this date, because he had the vehicle repossessed from him, that she couldn't do anything with the ticket. I had to come to court no matter what.
Well,
And that's why I'm here today.
Well, it sure sounds to me like you might want to consider talking to an attorney, but if you're bound and determined not to talk to an attorney, I'll see if Mr. Regier wants to talk to you. We have a full docket though, so I can't give you much time.
I understand. I'd just rather talk to the DA or whatever. I'm fine with that. I get it, but the attorney situation, I'm all right with all of it. Whatever happens is in God's hands. I'm good with that.
All right. Well, Mr. Regier, we have a full docket, but I would give the two of you a few moments to talk about these two cases. I don't know if a few moments is enough to talk about what he's looking at.
Your Honor, if I may.
Go ahead, please.
As a preliminary matter, is the court find that the defendant has successfully waived his right to counsel in both cases?
Yes.
Your Honor, for purposes of expediency, as the court has already indicated, we do have a full docket today. The state is prepared to dismiss 25 TR 366 in exchange for a plea to all counts in the 25 TR 329 case, as well as recommend probation.
There you go. That's his offer.
I'm willing to accept that.
All right. So let's focus then on
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate your offer.
Let's focus then on
I've just had a bad run for the last year. It's the craziest life I'm living, but hey, God's taking care of me. That's all I can say.
Yeah, we do seem to go through things from time to time. Okay, so let's focus then on the one that we're actually originally scheduled for today. And that is 25 TR 329.
Yeah, he said no matter what, I had to get processed. So I'm good with that.
Yes, you do need to get your picture and prints taken on both cases.
I understand.
Okay.
I'm good with all that.
All right. N25 TR 329, how do you plead in count one to operating a motor vehicle on a highway or roadway open to the public in Butler County, Kansas on February 3rd, 2025 without a valid registration or with an expired tag?
Did the deal we just made, you said I had to plead guilty, correct?
I think that's what he implied if he didn't say it. Guilty
That's
or
what
no
I plead.
contest.
I will plead guilty.
All right, by
I
pleading
mean,
guilty.
I was operating a vehicle. I cannot deny that. And
All right.
the vehicle I operated, I found out that day, the tags were expired. And the vehicle I operated that day, I found out did not have insurance on it. Which is the craziest thing because I thought it was the law that everyone that owns a vehicle has to have insurance. But my friend loaned me a vehicle so I could get to work. And this is the payment that I have to pay because of his stupidity.
Yes,
And he was
the
an
law-
insurance agent.
Oh, my.
And he did all of it. He was my insurance agent and he did all of that because my car was stolen.
Wow. All right. Well, you're right. The law does require if you're going to be out there driving a vehicle, it has to have insurance and a tag
I
on
get
it.
it. Now I have insurance no matter what vehicle I drive. So I'm covered from now on.
Still have the same agent, just out of
I
curiosity.
do
who
not
did it?
have the same agent and
Okay,
no,
so
we're
you
not
don't-
friends. I gave him back his vehicle. That's why it got repoed.
All right. And did this happen on the Kansas Turnpike,
Yes, ma'am.
I-45 mile marker 59 inside of Butler County?
That sounds approximately correct. Yes. I was on my way back to Wichita from working in El Dorado for the company I work for.
And you've told me you were guilty in so many words. Are you pleading guilty to count 2, the insurance, as well as count 1, the registration?
Yes, ma'am. There was no insurance on the vehicle.
All right, I will find that you're knowingly and voluntarily entering this plea to both counts, and I will find you guilty of each count. I will dismiss 2025 TR 366 on motion of the state per plea agreement and proceed to sentencing. Mr. Regier, recommendations?
One moment, Your Honor.
Please be merciful. Yes, it's the craziest story. I can't get over it was my insurance agent.
All right, well, let's let Mr. Regier have his moment here.
For sure. Do you guys ever hear something like that?
We hear all kinds of things, but I've never heard that one, that the insurance
Oh
agent.
my goodness.
Okay.
Your Honor, at this time, pursuant to plea negotiations, the state is prepared to recommend a non-reporting probationary period for a period of 1 year. The state is further recommending that the court impose court costs as well as fines of $100 for count 1 and the minimum fine required by law of $300 for count 2. The state is recommending a 6-month underlying sentence in both cases. The maximum underlying sentence for a class B misdemeanor for count 2 and the maximum allowed under KSA 8149 with respect to count 1. The state is recommending that those run consecutive. Notwithstanding the plea agreement in this matter, this is a case where the alleged occurrence dates in both those cases appear to be in very close proximity to each other. Nevertheless, the state is prepared to proceed with non-reporting probation pursuant to plea negotiations.
Okay,
Thank
now,
you, sir.
Mr. Longabardi, your story with the insurance agent works for me on one case, but how about the other one? Was it the same vehicle?
It was the exact same vehicle, ma'am.
But you didn't learn from the first time that it didn't have insurance?
Well, when I called him that night, or actually I texted him and I said, hey, I just got pulled over. Can you send me the proof of your insurance? And he said, because he was going through a divorce at the time, he said, I didn't have the money and I wasn't able to pay it, but I will take care of it. And I said, okay.
All right.
And so I just assumed he would take care of it. 3 days later, I think it was maybe 4 days. It was within the same week. I just thinking, I want to get to work. I've got children that I need to feed and stuff. I didn't think nothing of it, honestly. I thought it is what it is. All I got to do is get to work. But no, it didn't work out the way I would have thought. And I was a little naive and no, he did. The second time I got pulled over, I said, okay, I got pulled over again. Can you send me your proof of insurance? And he said, I didn't get it. And I said, you know what? I'm bringing you back your vehicle and we don't have to have any communication from now on.
All right, well, that is an explanation that this
It's sad to
time
say, I should have been smarter.
okay, well, let's proceed. Let's live and learn and proceed to your sentence. At this
Thank you.
time, sir, I will follow the recommendations. I think that Mr. Regier has been pretty accommodating to you and reasonable to offer the sentence he has in light of the circumstances. At this time, on count one, driving without registration or expired tag, your fine is $100 and your sentence is 6 months. On count two, driving without insurance, your fine is $300 and your sentence is 6 months. I am running these consecutive, which means if you get your probation revoked, you'll serve 6 months for count one, and then you'll serve another 6 months for the second count for a total of a year. I'm doing this since the first count or the first case was dismissed, and that seems appropriate in light of everything you've shared with me today. You will be assessed court costs of $108. Your total due will be $508. Do you need some time to pay that?
Yes, please.
How much time will you need?
How much time can you give me?
Well, how about 120 days? That's a little more than sometimes I go, but that's
For sure. Yes. Thank you so much.
now.
Now, how do I pay this?
You stop by the clerk's office on your way out today. They're right across from the security as you come in, and they'll tell you the different ways you can pay it.
Oh,
I would
thank you,
urge
ma'am.
you to pay anything you can today, if at all, and make payments as soon as you can in increments so that you don't wait 120 days and come up short.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
It
You
will get
are-
paid off fast as I can. It's not going to take no 120 days, but I
Okay.
appreciate that. Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you,
now
Jesus. Boy.
You are on probation for 1 year. That means that if you don't do what I tell you to, you can end up getting that revoked and serve a year in the county jail. To not serve a year in the county jail, you're not going to have a probation officer to see and remind you to do this. But the conditions are very simple. 1, pay that within 120 days. 2, violate no laws. So next time you get in a vehicle, regardless of who owns it, make sure it's legally tagged, insured, that its lights work, and that you have a valid driver's license. And so don't violate any laws, pay within 120 days, and you should successfully complete your 1 year non-reporting probation, and the case
Okay.
will close.
How long
Okay.
is the probation period? 12 months?
1 year from today,
Okay.
12 months,
Okay, thank
1
you.
year from
No
today.
speeding tickets, no kind of tickets whatsoever, you're saying?
I'm saying don't jaywalk and get a ticket for it.
Okay, well, I'm trying to be an honest citizen. Honestly, I do, but good gosh.
Okay. All right. Is there anything further, Mr. Regier, on this matter?
Your Honor, the state's understanding that the court had previously ordered booking and processing in both cases. What I would tell the court is that in the 366 case, notwithstanding the dismissal pursuant to plea negotiations, on March 17, 2025, my office did file an amended information dismissing count 2 while retaining count 1, an unclassified misdemeanor. If it is the court's order that the defendant continue to be booked in both cases, I would request leave of the court to journalize that in the journal entry in both cases from today's hearing, if that is the court's determination.
I am giving you a third condition of probation. Mr. Longabardi, I'm giving you a third condition of probation to get your picture and prints taken. Make sure they're in both of these cases, even the one that was dismissed. Deputy, would you please make sure that's accomplished?
So this is what they gave me. So tomorrow I'm supposed to go there. So tell them tomorrow, this is really for 2 cases, or they'll know. Okay, I will take care of that. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, all right.
I will be there tomorrow.
All right, thank you. If there's nothing further, we're in recess, but stop by the clerk's office and they'll tell you the different ways you can pay.
Because I'm going to pay some today. I can pay some
Very
now.
good. Very
Thank you
good.
so much.
Thank
At
you,
least
sir.
half.
Okay, next one I have up is.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Christopher
Thank you.
Monroe.
We are on the record in case number 2023 TR 2208, State of Kansas versus Christopher Dean Monroe. Jared Regier appearing for the state. The defendant appears in person and pro se. This was one count of operating a motor vehicle without valid insurance, a diversion agreement was filed in this case. December 11th of 2024, an order revoking diversion and setting the case for trial on stipulated facts was filed. Notice of hearing for that trial on stipulated facts went out. December 30th of 2024, the case was called for trial on stipulated facts. Apparently, Mr. Monroe, you failed to appear at that time. So we can proceed at this time with the trial on stipulated facts, if you like, Mr. Monroe, or I can set that for another date. But I do see in your contract for diversion, there is an agreement that if your diversion is revoked for any reason, it will be on trial on stipulated facts. So do you wish to proceed at this time on that trial, sir?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor, yes.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to go back up and get your contract in full here. That a diversion agreement was filed December 22nd, 2023. And in that agreement, are you, it looks like, are you agreeing that you did file, or you did sign that contract, sir?
Yes, I did, yes.
Okay. And on page 3, there is a paragraph that says stipulation of facts if criminal proceedings on the complaint for which the defendant is requesting diversion are resumed for any reason, the trial or trials upon such complaint shall be on the record of the stipulation of facts herein which the parties agree and understand consists of the following: the entire contents of the reports submitted by Butler County Sheriff's Office in case NTA 30005, including affidavits, written statements, and narrative reports prepared by law enforcement. These documents are incorporated by reference as if set forth fully herein. The facts stipulated to are summarized as follows. Count 1, on or about the 19th day of May, 2023 in Butler County, Kansas, Christopher Dean Monroe did then and there unlawfully and intentionally drive a motor vehicle upon a public highway or property open to use by the public and failed to provide proof of insurance upon demand by law enforcement officer. This is in violation of KSA 40-3104D first, no proof of insurance, a Class B misdemeanor. And it also, the document includes waiver of counsel throughout. So the court is finding that you have waived your right to counsel, that you have agreed to proceed on stipulation of facts. You are found guilty of the sole count of driving without proof of insurance, a B misdemeanor. We will proceed to sentencing recommendations, Mr. Regier.
Yes, Your Honor, as a preliminary matter, if the court is finding that the defendant has waived his right to counsel, do I have leave to journalize that in the journal entry from today's hearing?
You do?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, pursuant to page 2 of the agreement for pretrial diversion, Item 5 would appear to refer to court costs in the amount of $108 and a fine of $300. The state is recommending that the court impose the same. The state is further recommending a suspended jail sentence of 120 days, subject to a non-reporting probationary period for a period of 6 months. I will, of course, defer to the court on any issues concerning repayment of the case, and if the defendant is entitled to receive credit for any payments already made in this case, absent the diversion fee.
Mr. Monroe, do you have anything you want to say before I determine your sentence? You don't have to, but you're welcome to if you like.
Not at the moment, no, but I do have, a couple questions on how an SR-22 works because I am on that right now.
Okay, that, sir, you'll have to either take up with an attorney or with the Department of Revenue, as they are the ones that require that. You can go online and probably find some answers to that, or contact an attorney who might be able to just give you some simple outright advice on that without charging you too much for it. But that's important that you know that for future purposes, for present and future purposes. At this time, Mr. Monroe, I will order that you pay the minimum fine allowed by law, and that is $300 as recommended by the state. I will also order that you pay court costs, $108, so the total due is $408. You will get credit if you've paid anything towards your fines and costs. Now, I'm not going to give you any credit for anything that was a diversion fee or a diversion application fee, but if you paid anything on your costs and fees, you'll be credited for that. You also will be ordered a 120-day jail sentence, but that is suspended, provided you successfully complete a 6-month non-reporting probation. You will not have to see a probation officer. Your probation has 2 conditions. Number 1, do not violate any law for 6 months. Number 2, pay the $408. How much time do you have or need to pay that, sir?
Is there a certain time that I have to pay it, or I can pay it as, soon as possible if that's what is recommended?
Well, I'll work with you on payment. It says you owe $408 on your diversion, so it looks like you haven't probably made any payments on your fines and costs. I usually go in increments 30, 60, 90 days. I gave someone 120 a while ago, but I urge you to make payments as you go on that. So how much time do you realistically think with your work situation or your financial situation you would need to pay that? Or let me ask you this, how much per month can you pay on it?
No. Oh, I could pay the whole thing off at once.
Oh, can you pay that today?
Probably not today, but I do get paid Friday. I would be missing out on rent, but I
don't
could,
want you to miss out on rent. I can give you some time.
okay, because I got rent coming up.
Yeah.
And then the next check after that, because I don't own any vehicle right now. I'm just on off-road insurance. So that whole check could go to paying that. So,
Well, I'm going to give you 120 days to pay.
okay,
And I want you to sit down before you leave the courthouse and figure out how much per month or every 2 weeks you can pay to get this paid off within 120 days.
okay,
Because if you don't get it paid, you can come back in here for revocation of probation. They can suspend your license. It can go to a private collection agent who will add about 40% more to it. I'm guessing at the 40 cents per percent, but something, whatever they normally would have for collection fees. So make sure, sir, that you sit down and get this taken care of so you don't end up here again.
do I pay this online?
You can stop by the clerk's office and they'll tell you all the different ways you can pay.
Okay, alrighty. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. If you can pay anything today, do. If you don't, I understand, but let's make sure it doesn't do like the diversion and just get ignored.
Oh, I'll definitely get paid up. That's for sure.
All right. Let's see. So don't violate any laws. And I don't think we need to get picture and prints taken. I think that's been done. Mr. Regier, anything further we need to address?
Not on this matter, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Monroe. You're excused, but stop by the clerk's office and do take this seriously.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And keep that SR 22 in place too. That's part of the don't violate any laws. All right,
All right, am I good to go?
you're good to go.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Judge, the next one I have coming up is Brian Ferrer.
With an F
I
for
also just
Yeah.
learned something, Judge. We have one coming down, a few down, that is gonna need an interpreter. I don't think we have one here.
Why don't you?
She brought her daughter, which can interpret for her for today.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mhm.
We are on the record in 2024 TR 1795, State of Kansas versus Brian Alejandro Ferrer, County Attorney Jared Regier appearing for the state. Mr. Ferrer appears in person and pro se. Mr. Ferrer, this is not your first appearance. You've been here a couple of times and you failed to appear for first appearance. The last time you were here, July 29th, 2025, you said you wanted to look into diversion.
So yeah, it was my first time doing something like this. So I didn't know what it was, but I mean, diversion is like whenever you want to like change something out.
All right, so you're not pursuing diversion. How do you want to proceed at this time? Do you want to plead guilty,
Yes,
not
guilty.
guilty, or set it for trial?
Guilty.
Do you remember that you have the right to an attorney?
Yes.
And that if you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can apply for court appointed. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
All right, and do you wish to hire an attorney, apply for an attorney, or waive your right to attorney and proceed on your own behalf today?
On my own.
All right, is anyone making you waive your right to an attorney today?
Um.
Is anyone forcing you to waive your right or
No. It's just that.
promising you? Okay, all right, then you'll have a form to sign to waive your attorney.
Print your name here, read that and sign right there. Okay, Jess.
Now, you've signed the waiver. Do you have any questions about that?
Yeah, I don't really know anything about it.
Okay, are you saying you signed a document that you knew, that you didn't understand anything
Oh no,
about?
I mean I did read it. I did read that, but like since I'm like new to this, I really don't know. I just know I was guilty and yeah.
All right, well, let's make it clear again, and I know we went over this at first appearance and today, but you do understand, as I have told you, and as that document says, that you can hire an attorney, you can apply for a court appointed, or you can waive attorney and represent yourself.
Yes.
Do you have any questions about that?
No.
All right, and you want to waive your right and represent yourself today, correct?
Yes.
All right, so I will have the record reflect, Mr. Regier, both in the journal entry and the docket notes, that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to counsel, both orally and in writing today on the record. Now then, sir, you are charged. We'll go back over your charges again. Because I want to make sure you understand and know what you're doing. The state is alleging that on July 6th of 2024, at about 10:24 in the morning, You were driving on the Kansas Turnpike, known as officially as I-35, Interstate 35, and around mile marker 85 North in Butler County, Kansas. You are not wearing your seatbelt.
Your Honor,
Yes?
forgive my interruption, but I am showing that amended information was filed by my office in this case in September of 2024.
Thank you. Let's go from that then. Yes, September, there was an amended information. Okay, it just dismissed the seatbelt violation. It dismissed the no valid driver's license. So the remaining count in front of you today is that on that date and location in Butler County, you were driving a vehicle without proof of insurance. And how do you want to plead to that, sir?
Guilty.
By pleading guilty, are you admitting that you were driving on that date in Butler County on the turnpike without insurance?
Mhm.
I'm sorry, is that what you're admitting?
Yes, guilty for that.
Okay. Is anyone making you enter that plea today by any threats or promises?
No.
And you understand that with this plea, you're giving up the right to trial that you have.
So like, I mean, I was driving with no proof of insurance, like,
Okay,
yeah.
I just have to make sure for the record that you understand we won't have a trial if you admit this. We won't come back and have the state bring in witnesses. You won't bring in evidence, anything like that. Do you understand that you're giving up
Yes.
that right? Okay, and that's what you want to do?
Yes.
Then I will accept your plea as knowingly and voluntarily made, and you've provided a factual basis. I find you guilty of count 2, no proof of insurance. Mr. Regier, your recommendations for sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, the state is prepared to recommend the minimum fine required by law of $300 that the court impose court costs. State is further recommending a suspended jail sentence of 120 days, subject to a non-reporting probationary period for a period of 6 months. I will defer to the court as to any issues concerning repayment of the case.
Very well. Mr. Ferrer, you don't have to make recommendations for your sentence, but you're certainly welcome to before I decide your sentence. Do you have anything you want to say or not?
Can you repeat it again? I'm sorry, because
Okay. The county attorney has just told me what he wants me to order for your sentence. I'm getting ready to tell you what your sentence will be, but I wanted to see if you had anything you wanted to recommend. You don't have to, but you can. So far, he's recommended the minimum fine of $300 and the required court costs of $108. The court could go up to 6 months in sentence. The county attorney recommended 120 days. The court could give you no probation and make you serve it in jail, but he's recommended that you have a 6-month probation, non-reporting, where you don't have to see a probation officer. Those are not unusual recommendations. I
I'd
don't
like
have
to
to
do.
follow them, but I usually do. Your
Okay.
your recommendations, if any, or you can remain quiet if you wish.
I'd like to do the $300 fine.
Okay, so
And
you'd like me to follow his recommendations?
yes.
I will follow the joint recommendations of the state and the defendant. Your fine is the minimum required by law for driving without insurance. That is $300. Your court costs are $108, so the total due is $408. The sentence is 120 days, but that will be suspended. If you do not want to serve that, make sure you successfully complete the 6-month non-reporting probation that I'm giving you now.
Okay.
So if you don't want to serve that, you have to comply with your probation. You don't have to see a probation officer, but you have to do a couple of things. First, do not violate any laws for the next 6 months. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Don't get a jaywalking ticket, a speeding ticket, don't rob a bank, don't fail to pay your taxes when due, any of that. The second thing you have to do is pay the 408. Can you pay that today, or do you need some time to pay that? I can give you time.
I can try. I can check that out. But if I needed time, how does that work?
I'm going to give you 120 days to pay that from today. My fear of giving you that much time is you think you can put it off for 120 days, you won't pay it, and then I'll have to revoke your probation. What I want you to do, and I suggest you do, but I'm not ordering it because I'm ordering that you pay within 120. But before you leave the courthouse today, figure out how much you need to pay each month or per paycheck to get this paid off in 120 days.
Okay, I'm gonna try to do it right now.
All right, and then stop by the clerk's office across from the metal detectors and security, and they will tell you the different ways you can pay that.
Okay.
Now, deputy, does he need to get his picture and prints taken? Nope. Okay. So you have two conditions that you have to comply with if you do not want to serve that jail sentence. It's in your hands now. Pay it within 120 days. Don't get any violations in 6 months, and we'll close the case.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Regier, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you both. We'll be in recess. You're excused to go to the clerk's office, Mr. Ferrer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next one I have is Jonathan Rodriguez Contraras. Oh, you're right. And he does not need an interpreter.
Okay. So there he is. Okay, we are on the record in 2024 TR 1500, State of Kansas versus Jonathan Manuel Rodriguez Contraras. And that is you, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
I may have asked you before, but do we have your first name spelled right? John Hatan?
Yes.
Okay. Again, Jared Rivgier for the state and the defendant, Mr. Rodriguez Contraras, in person and pro se. This is not your first appearance. You've been seeing me for a while now. Your first appearance was August 21st, 24. You missed that. And the last time you were here, January 29th, 2025, you were going to look into diversion. Apparently, you did not get diversion. You either didn't apply or were denied.
I wasn't able to fill in all the requirements.
Understood. Okay. So how do you wish to plead at this or proceed at this time? You may recall that you do have the right to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed if you can't afford an attorney, or waive your right and represent yourself.
I'll represent myself, Your Honor.
Have you been listening this morning as some of the others before you have done that?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And you want to waive your right knowing that you can hire an attorney or apply for court appointed?
Yes.
Is anyone making you waive your right to an attorney today by any kind of threats or promises?
No.
All right, then if you'd look at the form in front of you.
Print your name there, read that, sign right there.
I see you have signed the waiver of counsel. Do you have any questions about the document or about what I've said or anything in general about waiver of counsel, sir?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then I will have Mr. Regier, both the docket notes and the journal entry reflect that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to counsel on record, both orally and in writing. At this time, Mr. Rodriguez Contraras, you are facing an amended information filed July 9th of 2024. In count one, you're accused of speeding 91 miles per hour in a 75 mile per hour zone and not having, in count three, a valid driver's license. Both of these alleged by the state to have occurred June 3rd, 2024 on the Kansas Turnpike known as I-35 inside of Butler County. How do you plead? Well, let's see. You're waiving your rights to counsel. Mr. Regier, do you wish to visit with him at all since he's representing himself, or do you want to proceed?
Your Honor,
Yes.
we just lost power. However, you're still coming in, so you
And
could,
you are coming in clearly.
we
too.
just got it up back on.
You've got some strange things going on with the lighting, but I can still hear you loud and clear and tell that you're there, so
Okay.
thank you. I don't know how you kept your computer going. Maybe it's battery operated today.
Battery.
There you go. Thank goodness for batteries. All right, when they work, when they're not dead. Mr. Regier, do you want to consult any with him as a pro se defendant or not? That's your call.
Your
Oh,
Honor.
I lost Mr. Regier. Yes.
Yeah, I just joined back on. I'm not sure when Mr. Regier will either, but I did lose power. So everything's just coming back on now.
All right, so it must be courthouse wide and you're not battery operated.
Seems that way.
Okay. Mr. Kinder, are you able to join us?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
Okay, I've called you a couple of times. I didn't mean to make you wait, but I called a couple of times and you were tied up apparently doing something else. So I'll get to you shortly. I didn't mean to just forget about you there.
Oh, that's fine, Your Honor. I thought you were doing in custodies. That's why I was.
I did at one point, yes, yeah. I did several things, but I didn't want to keep you on here this long. But we've lost power with the prosecutors, you may have just heard.
Oh, okay. I see.
So if we get Mr. Regier back, I'll finish this up and hopefully I'll get to your client. Who is your client?
Mr. Austin, Christian Austin.
Christian Austin. There he is.
That's why we had a power surge.
Destiny, I just missed something from Kristen. What was that? Did you see that? Was that to everyone?
I did not, Your Honor. I don't think I see it at all.
Okay, maybe that was just an email. Look. Missy, what was that? Did you see it?
Maybe a private message to you?
One of those, I think it's just acknowledgement that the power is out.
Oh, was it a Teams message?
Yes, I was trying to think of that term, yes. Welcome back, Mr. Regier.
Thank you.
Seems like your office is, your courthouse is under an electric attack of some sort. But I was saying the defendant had waived his right to counsel. I didn't know if you wanted to address him as you would an attorney or just proceed.
Your Honor, the state understands there are still a number of cases on the docket today. In the interest of judicial economy and expediency, the state is prepared to dismiss the speeding charge in exchange for a plea to count 3, no valid driver's license, a Class B misdemeanor, as well as recommend non-reporting probation.
Okay, someone needs to mute, or maybe that's just the court security. I'm not sure. But Mr. Rodriguez, the county attorney, has offered to dismiss the speeding in exchange for your plea to no valid driver's license. Are you accepting that plea?
If the plea counts as no contest, yes.
All right. Will you take a no contest plea, Mr. Regier?
Your Honor, the state has no objection to proceeding in that fashion.
All right. By no contest, do you mean, Mr. Rodriguez, that you don't want to admit that you were driving without a driver's license, but you don't want to deny it and take it to trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is anyone, and do you understand you're giving up your right to trial with this plea? There will be no trial and you'll most likely be found guilty.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's how you want to proceed today?
Yes.
No one's making you do this by any threats or promises?
No.
All right. I find the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily entered this no contest plea. Do you have a factual basis to support it, Mr. Regier?
Yes, Your Honor. Pursuant to the ticket, this is a case that appears to involve a stop occurring on June 3rd, 2024, involving a 2009 Cadillac. The location of the stop on the ticket appears to be I-35 at milepost 83. The state's understanding is that is just north of El Dorado City Lake, well within Butler County boundaries, thereby giving this court jurisdiction over this matter. Pursuant to the amended information filed with this court on July 9th of 2024, count 3 is alleged that on the 3rd day of June 2024 in Butler County, Kansas, the defendant did then and there unlawfully operate a motor vehicle on a highway of the state without having a valid driver's license. Were this case to proceed to trial, the state's evidence would show the same.
I do find as well that a factual basis exists to support this charge and find the defendant guilty of count 3, driving without a valid driver's license, count 2 previously dismissed, and count 1 dismissed today as part of the offer to the defendant by motion of the state. Mr. Regier, standard, what some might call standard recommendations of probation.
Your Honor, I cannot speak as to any standard recommendations, to use the court's words. The state respectfully submits that every case is different and deserves individual consideration. At this time, in this matter, the state is prepared to recommend a $100 fine, court costs, a suspended jail sentence of 120 days, and non-reporting probation for a period of 6 months.
Any objection to those recommendations, Mr. Rodriguez?
Oh, no.
Very well. The court does impose the minimum fine. You're ordered to pay the minimum fine allowed by law of $300, as
Your Honor,
well as the court costs. Yes.
forgive me, Your Honor. The state's
Oh, I said
understanding
that
is
wrong.
that the defendant had entered a no contest plea to count 3, which appears to
Yes.
be charged under KSA 8235.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Regier. But your fine, your recommendation, Mr. Regier, on that was?
A $100 fine.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Rodriguez. I'd handled no proofs of insurance this morning and we switched to driving without a license. So there is no mandatory required minimum fine. Thank you, Mr. Regier, for redirecting that issue. At this time, Mr. Rodriguez, your fine is $100. Your court cost is $108. So you owe the state of Kansas $208. Your jail sentence is 120 days, but it is suspended. You do not have to serve that as long as you successfully complete a 6-month non-reporting probation. Your probation has 2 conditions. Do not violate any laws during this 6 months and pay the $208. Can you pay that today or do you need some time?
I had a quick question. So I had paid bond and so I don't know if that can transfer into paying off the ticket.
Yes, it most certainly can. You did pay a cash bond in this case. Go to the clerk's office, sign anything that needs signed, and they can take the $208 out of that bond and refund any remainder.
Okay.
All right, so that will be paid from the cash bond. For the journal entries purpose, put 30 days, Mr. Regier, but it sounds like you'll probably pay it
Thank you.
today out of his cash bond. All right, if there's nothing further, Mr. Rodriguez, thank you. You may go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're
Go to the
welcome.
clerk's office. Okay, thank you.
We will now take up the Austin case. Will be on the record in 2022 TR 3820, State of Kansas versus Christian Joseph Edward Austin. Please announce appearances.
Jared Regier on behalf of the state.
Michael Kinder on behalf of Mr. Ar, who should be appearing by video.
Yeah, I'm here.
I hear him. Yes.
I do see and hear him. Yes, please proceed, Mr. Kinder. This is not first appearance. How does your client wish to proceed on this registration and driving while suspended, which is remaining after count 3 was dismissed?
Well, Your Honor, there is a plea offer from the state, and I spoke with my client about this plea offer, and I sent him a copy of that plea offer. We just talked just here briefly about this, and from what I understand, my client wishes to accept the plea offer and to conclude this case today. He can, of course, correct me if I'm wrong, and he understands that this is a major moving violation and that a combination of 3 major moving violations within 5 years can suspend his license for 3 years. He understands that as well.
All right, Mr. Austin, I need you to restart your video and stay on here where I can see you, please. Thank you, sir. All right, did you hear your attorney talking just now?
Yes.
And did he speak correctly for you?
Yes, Your Honor.
At this time, how do you wish to plead to driving suspended?
Guilty, Your Honor.
By pleading guilty, are you admitting that you did in fact drive on a roadway open to or highway open to the public in Butler County, Kansas on November 24th of 2022?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is anyone making you enter this plea today by any threats or promises other than the plea agreement that I've heard about?
No, Your Honor.
The officer's citation said you were on the turnpike at I-35, known as I-35, at mile marker 69 south inside Butler County on November 24th, 22 at about 12:41 in the afternoon. Is that what you're admitting today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And your license was suspended at the time. Are you admitting that as well?
Yes.
You understand you're giving up your right to a trial. There's not going to be a trial if I accept this plea.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I will accept your plea. Is count 1 dismissed? Do I understand correctly? Mr. Regier is part of the plea agreement.
That it would be the state's understanding of what the plea agreement contemplated in this matter, Your Honor.
And count 3 previously amended to be dismissed. So at this time, I find the defendant guilty of driving while suspended. Recommendations for sentencing. Mr. Regier, starting with the state.
Yes, Your Honor. Pursuant to plea negotiations, the state is recommending the statutory minimum fine, which I understand is $100 in this matter, as well as the imposition of court costs. The state is further recommending a 6-month non-reporting probationary period and a suspended jail sentence. The state would be recommending 120 days insofar as the suspended jail sentence is concerned. I will, of course, defer to the court on any issues concerning repayment of this case.
Thank you. Mr. Kinder, recommendations?
Well, Your Honor, we have not specifically discussed the suspended jail sentence, so the length thereof, but at least I do not recall that in the emails, but we did discuss everything else, including the 6-month non-reporting probation and the minimum fine and the guilty plea to with count 2 and dismissal count 1.
All right, thank you. Mr. Austin, I'm not sure why your phone keeps twisting around, showing me different views.
Because I'm listening through, I can barely hear.
Okay, all right,
Sorry,
fair enough.
I'm putting it up to my ear.
Okay, I thought maybe that was happening, but I wasn't sure.
Okay.
At this time, Mr. Austin, you are being fined $100 and assessed court costs of $108 for a total due of $208. I won't address your attorney fees because I understand that you have privately retained Mr. Kinder. That is correct, isn't it, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that is between you and Mr. Kinder. Your jail sentence will be 120 days, but that is suspended. You will not have to serve that 120 days as long as you successfully complete a 6-month non-reporting probation. That means that you are on probation for 6 months, but you don't have to see a probation officer. You
Okay.
have to do 2 things to be successful and not serve your jail time. You have to pay the money owed and you have to violate no laws.
Heard.
So do not violate any laws of any kind and pay the $208. But I have to check with the clerk.
I was gonna mention, Your Honor, there is $244 in reinstatement fees, and there was an order for judgment on bond.
Okay. Well, see, I couldn't figure out why the state's balance is showing that you already owe $1,744 before I assessed the $208. Now, the clerk just explained that you failed to appear. Okay, I'm not sure who's talking, but I need that.
Sorry, it was me.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're
would the court consider waiving that $1,000 judgment or setting aside that $1,000 judgment?
No, I'm pretty set that if he owes it, he owes it. He should have been here. So part of that is your failure to appear, the bond that you posted, the OR bond, and you didn't keep it. So you owe a bond and you owe suspension fees for not taking care of this. So you're starting out at $1,744 plus $208. I believe that's $1,952. That much, I'm afraid, Mr. Austin, you may need some accountability to supervision. Are you in any condition to pay that?
Over time I can.
I'm sorry?
Over time, yeah, definitely I can.
How much time do you think you'd need?
Probably less than 120 days, definitely.
You think you can pay almost $2,000 in 120 days?
I mean, I'm gonna ask family for assistance, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what I'll order, is that be paid within 120 days, and that's the total, 1744 plus 208. And I'll have Mr. Regier put that in the journal entry.
And Your Honor,
Yes.
I apologize for interrupting. That 1,500 is currently in collections, since the order for judgment on bond was done.
I'm going to order that be taken out of collection. I'm going to give you, well, maybe that's the best way to approach it. Mr. Austin, I need to talk to you a minute about this.
Yeah.
How much has already gone to private collection, Destiny?
Just the bond amount, Your Honor, so $1,500. The rest of it has not yet.
All right. So I can do this a couple of ways. I can send the whole 1952 to collections, everything you owe, and a private collection agent will make calls to you and potentially garnish wages if you don't, or whatever they want. Are you listening to me, Mr. Austin? Who's the lady trying to help advise you there?
My sister.
Okay, well, she probably ought to stay out of this, even though she may mean well.
Okay.
So I can put it all in collections and let you deal with the collection agent with all the things that collection agents have authority to do to get this money out of you. Or I can leave the 1,500 in there and let you pay the rest directly to the clerk. Or I can order it all out of collections and have you pay it all directly to the clerk. But if you don't pay it to the clerk, it may end up back in collections and it could be a violation of your probation. So I can give you time to talk to Mr. Kinder about that if you'd like, before I proceed with the rest of your sentence.
Yes.
All right, so Missy, could you put Mr. Kinder and his client, Christian Austin, in a breakout room? We'll be in recess on Austin. And let's see, Deputy, who do you have sitting there with you?
Levi Parker.
Levi Parker, let's see if we can take up your case now. On the record in 2024 TR 2748, State of Kansas versus Levi Robert Parker, Jared Regier for the state. Mr. Parker appearing in person and pro se. Mr. Parker, I don't believe this is your first time here. We met previously. Diversion agreement filed May 22nd, 2025. So it looks to me like Mr. Regier, he's on diversion and we can take this off the docket. Am I reading that correctly?
Your Honor, I am showing that a diversion agreement was filed with the court in this matter on May 22nd, 2025.
All right, Mr. Parker, as long as you comply with your diversion, you won't have to come back and see me. But make sure you pay when you're supposed to and do everything else you're supposed to so you can get these charges officially dismissed.
Yes,
All right?
ma'am. Will do. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming in and you're excused at this time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Have a Misty Hal coming out.
Howell?
Hal with an H.
Be good.
And Your Honor,
Yes.
as a precursor before the court goes on the record, the state does have an oral motion in this case to make at the appropriate time.
All right, on the record in 2020 TR 1178, State of Kansas versus Misty Dawn Howell, Jared Regier for the state, defendant in person and pro se. Mr. Regier, you said you have an announcement.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, there appears to be an information that was previously filed with the court. It appears to allege 2 counts. Count 1, driving while suspended, a Class B non-person misdemeanor. Count 2, no proof of insurance, a Class B misdemeanor. After further review of this case, the state is making an oral motion to dismiss count 2, no proof of insurance, a Class B misdemeanor. The state's oral motion is limited to count 2 and does not have any bearing from the state's perspective insofar as count 1 is concerned.
Thank you. Ms. Howell, this is a 2020 case.
Yes, Your Honor.
It's taken you a long time to get here. How do you plead to driving while suspended?
Well, Your Honor, I would really like to push for diversion.
Well, that was 5 years ago an option. I'm not going to
Yes.
continue this. I'm not going to continue this at this late date to allow you to do that. Are you going to have an attorney represent you?
I can, Your Honor.
Well, that's not what I asked you. Are you going to?
Yes.
You're hiring an attorney?
Yes.
Who are you hiring?
It will probably be Marty Keenan.
Marty Keenan. I didn't think Marty Keenan was still taking cases. I thought he'd taken some kind of government job years ago and just quit taking cases?
Nope. He's actually my current attorney at the moment.
You have another case pending somewhere that he's representing you on?
Yes, in Sedgwick County.
All right. Where have you been for the last 5 years?
Well, when I got the ticket, Your Honor, I tried to come to court. That was through COVID. And there was never, I could never get into the courtroom, and it was, I've just actually forgot about it, and it was my fault. I should have come back and took care of it, and everything's just been kind of got out of hand, I guess.
Okay. Well, that was a crazy year, that's for sure.
Yes, it was.
I should say crazy respectfully. I don't mean that
No.
disrespectfully, but it was a difficult time. All right, so you want to hire Marty Keenan.
Yes.
Have you talked to Marty Keenan about taking this case?
No, I haven't, but I will talk to him this afternoon as soon as I get back to Wichita.
Well, I sure do not want to delay this any longer, but you are entitled to your attorney. Mr. Regier, comments from the state?
Your Honor, I believe the court is already well aware of the state's eagerness to reach a resolution in this case, at least from an implied point of view. However, again, as previously referred to by the court, this does appear to be a case where the defendant is at least constitutionally entitled to representation, although in my role as prosecutor, I do not represent the defendant and I cannot speak any further beyond that.
All right. So when's the earliest you can squeeze her and Mr. Keenan in should he take her case, Destiny?
Your Honor, that would be July 28th.
All right. Let's make sure, Ms. Howell, that your bond is active. All right, looks like you posted a $1,000 surety bond with an unknown bonding company on January 31st of 25. I will
Yes.
continue that bond with the added condition that you and your attorney appear, tell me that date again, I'm sorry.
That's okay,
Yes.
Your Honor. July 28th.
July 28th at 9 a.m. July 28th at 9 a.m. And when you talk to your attorney, you talk to him about diversion because maybe he can still get that for you. But I'm saying I'm not going to give you any more continuances for that purpose because I think 5 years was plenty.
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
All right. So you and your attorney are due back here July 28th, 9 a.m. as a condition of your bond. Mr. Regier, anything further?
Two final points, Your Honor. Previously on the record, the state had made an oral motion. The state would request the court make a ruling concerning the same. Additionally, given the particular facts of this case, with special emphasis on the time frame of this case, the state would respectfully inquire if the court wants to make any orders about ordering the defendant to appear in person for all future proceedings.
That is appropriate that you appear, Ms. Howell, for all future purposes here at the courthouse since you've been gone for 5 years.
Yes, Your Honor.
And now, whether Mr. Keenan appears in person or by Zoom, I'll let him have Zoom, but you have to be here in person because you failed to appear, he hasn't. But if he comes with you, it's more accessible for the two of you to converse. And I'm sorry, Mr. Regier, the motion?
Yes, Your Honor. Previously on the record, after further review of this matter, the state had made an oral motion to dismiss count 2, no proof of insurance, a Class B misdemeanor. The state does not make any motions with respect to count 1, driving while suspended, a Class B misdemeanor.
The motion to dismiss the no proof of insurance is granted at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. All right, if there's nothing further, you may go, Miss Howell. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Now let's go back on the record in 22 TR 3820, State of Kansas versus Christian Joseph Edward Austin. all parties appearing as before. Mr. Kinder, did your client come to a decision as to how he wants to have me order payment?
Yes, Your Honor. My client would like to keep the 1,500 in collections, and then the current court costs and the reinstatement fees be ordered for him to pay as a condition of his probation. If we could please give him about 120 days to do so.
All right, that's what you want to do, Mr. Austin?
Yes, Your Honor.
You think you can handle that?
Yes.
Then I'm going to order it. The 1,500 will, and Destiny, does that cause any kind of chaos with your bookkeeping?
It does not, Your Honor.
Very good. Then the 1,500 will stay in collections, and you are now ordered as a condition of your bond to pay the 208 that I've ordered today in court costs and fines, as well as the 244, I believe it was, for reinstatement fees. And you are to pay all of that within 120 days. And I would suggest you call the clerk of the district court in Butler County to find out the different payment methods, such as online and so forth.
Okay.
All right, that's the Butler County District Court clerk.
Heard. Thank you.
Do you want their number or will you look it up?
I was gonna look it up, or have my sister look it up for me right now.
All right. Or if your sister wants to write it down, it's 322-4370. 316 area code.
What was the area code?
Can you say it one more time, ma'am? Sorry about that.
316-322-4370.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. And if there's nothing further, we'll be
Your
in
Honor.
recess. Yes.
There are two final points in this
All
matter.
right. Two final
Your Honor.
points.
Yeah, Your Honor, if these two issues, the state understands was not discussed specifically during the context of plea negotiations, but insofar as the $244 in reinstatement fees are concerned, does the court wish the journal entry to reflect those as well?
Yes, those are, payment of those are conditions of probation.
Thank you, Your Honor. And the last matter is, although it would appear that a plea has been successfully entered in this case, the state's understanding is that there has never been a formal first appearance in this case. I'm not sure if the court wishes to address that at this time for purposes of the record.
Well,
If the
I
court
think-
considers that necessary.
I think we have advised the defendant of his. Now, Mr. Austin, do you understand that driving while suspended is a Class B misdemeanor with penalties of $100 minimum up to $1,000 maximum and a possible 6-month jail sentence? Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand you have a right to an attorney and have in fact hired an attorney, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you've already told me you understand that by pleading as you did in this case, you're giving up your right to trial and that you're found guilty, and that's what you want to do. Is that all correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I will find that this does constitute a formal reading of rights charges and first appearance, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Very well. Anything further, Mr. Kinder?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Regier?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Austin, anything further before I let you go?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We're all in recess at this time, and Mr. Kinder and Mr. Austin are excused.
Thank you. Have a good day, Your Honor.
Thank you, you too.
Next one up I have is Natalie Biggert.
We are on the record in 2024 TR 1831, State of Kansas versus Natalie Rochelle Biggert. Jared Regier for the state, and the defendant, Miss Biggert, appears in person and pro se. This is a charge of operating without a valid license. I don't believe it's first appearance. I show that happened quite some time ago. That is late ago as September 25th, 24. Defendant was going to look into diversion, but then I believe she failed to come to court January 15th. So, Miss Biggett, what is your intention on this charge at this time?
Well, I had applied for the diversion and I got the paperwork stating that like I was approved for it. And I needed to have an extended time to like pay it. And so I wasn't able to make it to court in January when I was sick. And then I missed, I guess, finishing the diversion paperwork to get that date extended out to
Have
pay.
you talked to the county attorney lately to see if they're diverting you?
No, when I realized that I had missed court in January, I tried calling them and they said that there was nothing they could do. I would just have to go to court and go from there. So I wasn't sure if I still could do the diversion. I wasn't sure how that would work since I had missed court in January.
Well, I won't continue it to give you more time for diversion, but as a practical matter, that may be a side effect of whatever we do. Are you going to, if there's no diversion, how do you intend to proceed? Do you want to talk to an attorney? Do you want a trial?
I guess I would need to maybe talk to an attorney because I don't really know, I guess from here what I would need to do if I'm not able to do the diversion.
Are you able to hire an attorney or do you need to apply for court appointed?
I would need to apply for court appointed.
All right. And where do you work?
I work at Bonbons in Augusta.
I know that facility. Are you full-time?
It's a part-time.
Part-time. Do you have any other employment?
Not at the time. No, no, not at the time.
Does anyone else contribute to your livelihood, pay your rent or anything like that?
No, not at the time.
Do you live by yourself?
No, I do not.
Who do you live with?
My boyfriend and my 2 children.
Okay. How long have you been with your boyfriend?
10 years.
Okay, so it's somewhat of a marital type arrangement, it sounds
Yes.
like. And what is his monthly income?
Right now, 0. He's waiting to hear back from disability. He's applied for disability over a year ago, and so I've been helping care for him, kind of, and yeah.
All right, well, it sounds like you will qualify for court appointed, but I want you to fill out an application before you go. And then I want you to call the clerk of the district court in a couple of days by the end of the week to find out who your attorney is. It'll most likely be Darren Patterson, but I want to see your paperwork before I formally appoint him. He's not appointed yet, Destiny. She's applying for court appointed. That's the status. And then when is her court date? Let's put it on a Monday for good measure.
That would be July 28th, Your Honor.
All right, you're ordered to reappear July 28th at 8 a.m.
Okay.
And that can be by Zoom. But I'm ordering you to contact us no later than Friday to find out who your attorney is. Turn in the application today, contact Friday.
Okay, thank you.
And reappear July 28th. That's going to be status or control, and maybe you'll be diverted by then and I won't see you, but I think you've had plenty of time to pursue that diversion.
Okay, thank you.
And they may think the same thing and disqualify you. But in any event, that's my orders. Mr. Aguirre, anything else we need to take up?
Your Honor, is the court continuing the bond in this case?
I am continuing the bond with those added conditions that she reappear July 28th, 8 a.m. and that she turn in her application today and check back no later than Friday to see who her attorney is if she qualifies.
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Okay, then you're excused at this time, Ms. Biggert. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one I have is Michael Royer with an R.
Thank you. We are on the record in 2024 TR 1610, State of Kansas versus Michael Sean Royer. Jared Regier for the state. The defendant appears in person and pro se. Mr. Royer, you are returning on an ignition interlock violation after failing to appear in December of 24. and after having an attorney, Darren Patterson, appointed on September 11, 2024. Have you been in to see your attorney since he was appointed in September?
I called him the day that he was appointed and they took my phone number and told me that they'd have him get in touch with me when they got all the paperwork. And I haven't heard nothing from him.
Well, understand, sir, he's not the one that is on bond. He's not the one that's under court authority. You're the one that's facing possible conviction, possible jail time, possible fines. So it's important for you to pursue him. Okay? I don't
Yes, ma'am.
want you to be confused thinking it's his duty because he's been appointed to pursue you. Regardless of what his staff may have told you, you're the one that has to come and answer to me. Now, at this time, Mr. Regier, recommendations for what we should do about this?
Your Honor, as the court has already indicated, this does appear to be a case where an order appointing counsel was previously filed in this case back in September of 2024 with respect to Mr. Patterson. While the state is eager to reach a resolution in this matter, given the age of this case, the state does have concerns about proceeding without the presence of defense counsel of record.
Understood. All right. I'm going to give you another shot at this, but you better do it differently this time. Because I will do it differently if you don't. Destiny, when is Mr. Patterson's next available?
This will be our last one on July 28th, Your Honor.
Mr. Royer, you're on bond right now, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I am ordering all existing conditions of your bond continue. It looks like you started out with a $2,500 bond. And I don't know if that was ever collected when you failed to appear, but I see you posted another bond with a company called a Second Chance Bail Bond. That's a $3,500 cash or surety bond on January 30th of this year, 2025. At some point, you had a $5,000 bond ordered. Did he make that bond, Mr. Regier?
Your Honor, the bond that I have in my file would appear to be in the amount previously iterated by the court of $3,500 professional surety. The state is not aware of any orders modifying the bond as ordered by the court following the defendant's failure to appear in the December 2nd, 2024 hearing.
Well, the December 2nd, 2024 docket notes show 500 or 5,000 cash or surety was ordered when he failed to appear. And I don't see that that's ever been set aside, but maybe, did you make that $5,000 bond, Mr. Royer, recently?
I came and turned myself in like a month and a half ago.
You know, it could be that your bondsman got that set aside, but I'm not seeing that. And in an event, your newest condition of your bond, you must reappear with Mr. Patterson, July 28th, 8 a.m. And I am ordering you as a condition of your bond today to walk across the street to his office and tell them, here I am, here's my court date, and when can we talk? Because you and Mr. Patterson need to talk and be ready to go on this case come July 28th. So do you have any questions about any of that?
No, ma'am.
Give me one moment. All right. That's the order. Reappear July 16th. 8 a.m. is what I intended. I may have said something differently, but 8 a.m. is what I intended. July 16th, 8 a.m. and go across the street now to Mr. Patterson. Anything further, Mr. Regier?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
All right. You may go at this time, sir.
Judge,
Yes,
wasn't it July 28th?
yes, well, hold on. Yes, July 28th at 8 a.m. My eyes fell to the next line. July 16th, too many lines. Yes, thank you, Deputy. July 28th, 8 a.m.
Okay,
July
thank you.
28th, 8 a.m. Say that enough
Thank you.
times and we'll both remember. Thank you, sir. Yes.
Okay, last one I have is Zoe Garcia. He's the one that brought her daughter to help interpret. Zoe,
Okay.
daughter, come back over here so she can see you too.
Okay. All right, we are on the record in 2025 TR 199, State of Kansas versus Zoe Tabitha Garcia. Jared Regier appears for the state. Are you Zoe Tabitha Garcia?
Yes.
And you are her daughter. What is your name, please?
Valeria Escalante.
I'm sorry, can you lean forward and tell me your name?
Valeria Escalante. Valerie.
What is your first name?
Valerie.
Valerie Garcia. All right. And
Escalante.
I'm sorry.
Escalante.
Escalante is her last name.
Escalante. Okay. Ms. Escalante, I understand your mother does not fluently speak English. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. I am going to have her come back for a designated docket for language interpreters. Destiny, when is that?
It's July 2nd, Your Honor.
She will need to be back here July 2nd at 1:30, and I will have an interpreter for her. If she wants an attorney, she would need to fill out an application today, and the officers have one in Spanish. She doesn't have to. Don't make her think she has to, but if she wants to, she can. She also could hire an attorney if she wanted to. And then I need her to get her picture and prints taken, and you could help her with that through the deputies.
Okay.
But otherwise, let's have her reappear at that date and time.
In Your
Anything-
Honor,
Yes.
I apologize. If we're doing the booking and processing, I am going to need an amended information or a notice of corrections. Count 2 currently reads as attempted.
Yes, please. Let's fix that, Mr. Regier. Is that a highway patrolman maybe that showed up that way? They sometimes, I don't know why they pop up sometimes as attempted, but they do. So if you could get that fixed for us.
I'll put a note in the file, Your Honor.
And Deputy, if you can make sure the jail knows that's not attempted.
Okay, Judge, what about a bond?
Oh, let's set 1,000 OR.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Mr. Regier?
Your Honor, the state would request the opportunity to be heard briefly on the issue of bond in this case.
Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, pursuant to the information filed with the court on January 16, 2025, count 2 is charged as a Class A, no proof of insurance. It appears to refer to a prior conviction in Sedgwick County District Court, case number 21 TR 12085, from September 29th, 2021. Given the level of the charge, while the state is not opposed to the court setting an OR bond, given that the defendant appears in the fashion that that the defendant does today, the state is recommending a higher bond in the amount of at least $4,000.
All right, 4,000 OR bond. We definitely need that amended information. That's going to, Deputy, that's going to be a Class A misdemeanor for a second in 5 years.
And that's on the no proof of insurance.
Yes.
Tengo la prueba. I have the proof of insurance. She has a proof of de aquel tiempo.
Take that to, with it being a second, she'll probably want to get an attorney and take that to the attorney. Does she have a job? I'm talking to Valerie. Does she have a job?
Yes, she does.
How much does she make per month?
She's per month is 350 a week. 350 a week.
All right,
315 a week.
okay, and you have a husband or spouse or boyfriend that lives with you that helps with the income?
No, I am divorced.
Okay, deputy, if you'd make sure she fills out an application, I'm going to appoint Darren Patterson to represent her. And so we'll need to give him an appointment and notice of that hearing date with the interpreter. But I still need that application filled out. Anything else I need to address?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Okay. And Valerie, if you would not mind going across the street to Darren Patterson's office and giving them any information that they might need. He's right across from the parking lot there in front of the courthouse. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll be in recess at this time.
Oh, yes.
Please.